from the hot air balloon capital of the world. This is Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO Energy, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. The 48th edition of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon, is happening now in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And now, live and direct from the rooftop studio at Balloon Fiesta Park, here are the hosts of Balloon Fiesta Live, Glen Moyer and Lloyd Jr.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a crisp, cool, and I use that term loosely, Friday morning here at the Albuquerque.
It's nice out here.
It is nice.
It's great.
Yeah, I think I have on every layer that I own. I'm feeling very, very international today. I'm sporting underneath all of this stuff my Irish wool sweater and my woven in the Scottish Highlands tartan, and somewhere I think I have a Chinese merino wool T-shirt on under there somewhere. I've lost track. I've got so many layers on this morning. Good morning. You're watching Balloon Fiesta Live. We are powered by XTO, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. This, of course, is the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon. By now, hopefully you know, I'm Glen Moyer. This guy beside me is Lloyd Jr. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. It's cool. It's definitely cooler. I have an extra layer. I have both the fleece and the outer shell on today.
I am wearing the same, yeah, with a couple of other layers underneath that.
But the good news is the wind is
no
gone.
Wind. Yeah, it actually is not as cold as I feared it would be this morning.
Right.
I'm actually quite comfortable, so that's good news.
I was almost colder last night up here in the wind, but, with the 20, 25 gusting mile winds coming through, and it already had started cooling off. So I don't know what the wind chill factor was last night, but it was definitely cool up here. And it's actually pretty pleasant up here.
It actually is. I actually
cooler.
can see maybe coming out of this jacket before, and once the sun is up, perhaps it might warm up enough. And kudos to you and Kim last night, and thank you for the night off. I enjoyed that.
Good.
And you guys did a great show. I was tuned in. As Benny Voss knows, because he told me that since I was having a night off, I should get off the feed.
Yeah,
but
I saw that.
I thought you guys did a great job with the blend of all the different reports that we had gathered from the various gas balloon teams. That was really quite entertaining. And so kudos to you and Kim. Nice job last night.
Well, thank you very much.
I just hope you didn't put me out of a job. I think they're going to say, well, we don't need that Glen guy anymore.
Well, once
stay home.
We heard from our weather guy, Brad Tiemeyer, yesterday morning that the chances of getting the glow off last night were pretty slim.
Yeah, we knew that going in.
We kind of knew that, and so working on a backup plan, because we promised everybody, you made me promise what we would do at the end of yesterday's show.
Well, I was trying to bait you into saying, we'll just take the night off, but you kept saying, no, we're going to show up at 6:30. We're going.
And we did. And so we were on at 6:30 last night, and so we had a backup plan. We had a little bit of time yesterday afternoon to put some of those videos together. Of course, we couldn't have done that if the pilots and chase crews for America's Challenge balloons hadn't posted those and or sent them back to us. Peter Cuneo, of course, called in. We got great video from Mark and Sherry's chase team, and pulled that fabulous video from Andy Caton's, the tour around the basket and stuff. That was just really nice. And I saw Mark.
That was really
wasn't that nice?
That was an incredible video.
And for him to do that and put that up there, I don't know that he knows we used it, but so we're gonna ask forgiveness after the fact.
Yeah. Well, that's a popular saying in ballooning. It's easier to beg forgiveness than it is sometimes to ask permission.
There we go. So
I don't know who claims. If anyone out there has ever found a pair of touch gloves, they're supposedly the gloves that work with touch screens, like phones, things, let me know what they are, because I've tried everything there is out there and none of them work. And
I have a set at home that works.
Do you?
Yeah, I'll have to look up the brand for you.
Well, I'd like to know, because, and I don't know if maybe it's because I have a screensaver on my phone, but I've tried different ones for years and they just don't work.
Anyway, thanks to all the crews. I did hear, of course, Peter, as we said, called in, and with Barbara Fricke, they were watching and listening to our show on their drive back. I talked to Mark Sullivan and Sherry White this morning. They have made it back to Albuquerque.
I saw Mark and Sherry downstairs. We had breakfast across from each other this morning, walked in at the same time.
I got a chance to chat with them. So 2 days straight driving back from upper Minnesota. But they, too, were watching our show driving back yesterday. So it's great to have everyone out there. And by the way, we have now gone over the 500,000 mark in views for this year.
Outstanding.
So thank you very much for joining us. Balloon Fiesta Live on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course you can easily get to that from balloonfiesta.com. Click on This Year in Balloon Fiesta Live, and there's a link to not only the live show, but all of the shows we have done so far, plus last year's and the years before. And if you missed last night's show that was basically all about America's Challenge, it's linked and available for you to go watch as well and see all that great video that we've just been talking about.
Down on the feed, on the field rather, that you're seeing on the feed are the preparations for Dawn Patrol to fly this morning. So that's always a positive sign if we see those guys beginning to cold inflate as we're doing this morning. For some reason it's so cold my phone is having a hard time logging in the feed. There it is. Okay. So now I was unable to play video. Check the connection of your stream. Oh, wonderful. So yeah, we're having some Wi-Fi issues on the tower this morning, but the feed looks really nice. There is Tim Taylor in D3. That's the Stars and Stripes themed balloon that you see there. Just to his right, that would be Michael Scott from Oklahoma City. And I think, is that Gary Lindsay there on the left?
It is, with Floating Oasis.
Floating Oasis.
Yep.
Not Oasis, Oasis.
Oasis. So before we go to Ruth here, let's just tell you that we're going to get a Dawn Patrol show here in this morning. Then it's off to Special Shapes Rodeo. We'll see the Special Shapes stand up. And then after that, our competitors will be flying in, and it's Ring Toss Day, formerly known as Pole Grab.
Oh, okay.
Now it's Ring Toss Day. And so pilot's briefing is underway out there at the tower. We'll have all the final information from them as soon as that wraps up. But Ruth Lind, who's been doing a great job all week finding us interesting folks to talk to, has found yet another one. Ruth?
I certainly have. I'm here this morning with Phil Whittington of Montgolfier Gifts. Now, our vendors on the field, if you look on the east side of the field, vendor row, these people are out here hours before the rest of us. They are working and working and working until the last people leave the field. Phil actually used to work for Cameron Balloons, and he was a graphic designer there. Tell me about making the switch for working for a major balloon manufacturer to this gift shop.
Actually, it's even easier than that, because this was around before Cameron's was around. So this started in 1998. I started in Cameron's in 2000. So Andy Baird from Cameron Balloons actually came down to California, where I was working down there, and basically asked me to join him at Cameron Balloons.
So how long were you at Cameron, and tell me about the work you did there?
Cameron Balloons, I was there for 9 years, and primarily I was his head graphic designer, and designed, we were designing probably around about 500 to 600 balloons a year, but probably only about 10% of that ever got built.
So when you say you designed the balloons, what exactly does that mean?
We designed basically all the patterns, so all the different color patterns. We have 16, 17 fabrics to work with, and we just basically mixed them into combinations to how the client wanted them. The advertising balloons, what comes to mind? Many of the corporate balloons, we put all the corporate logos onto that. It goes onto a flat image first of all, and then we had a program that puts it into 3D, and that we were able to twist that around to every angle we wanted, so that the client could actually view his balloon on a flat surface and decide what pattern that he actually liked.
That's fascinating. We see so many corporate Cameron balloons out there. I'm sure a lot of that is due to your hard work. But now with the gift shop, I keep seeing posts from you from all over the place. What's that like, being a traveling gift shop?
My fellow balloonists call me a carny, which is basically I travel around the countryside aimlessly. I do about 16,000 miles a year. And I'm going to probably around about 16, 17 shows across the whole of the US. So, but most of the concentration is the East Coast, Midwest, and I do travel down here to Albuquerque every year. This is my 5th year to Albuquerque as a gift shop, 20th year as a balloonist. And then from here I go to Statesville, North Carolina. So we do travel considerable amount, a lot of miles, and we don't have much time to do it. So we have to literally be in Statesville next Thursday.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're very glad you're here with us in Albuquerque, Phil. And everyone, come on down to Montgolfier Gifts and take a look at the wonderful things they have in here. Glen and Art?
Thank you, Ruth. And I think maybe we should have gotten together and coordinated outfits this morning, because I noticed Phil's nice blue glasses and that striking hat that Ruth is rocking there.
Yes.
And my tartan. If we put the three of us together, we'd have quite an outfit today.
That would
That's
be
right.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving the hat. Blue is my favorite color, Ruth, just so you know. And I'm loving the hat this morning. That looks really nice.
So good looking deal. We've
Thank
got our
you.
balloon.
Hope it's warm.
Our Dawn Patrol balloons are standing up on mass ascension days. So on the weekends and on Wednesday, we choreograph the entire thing with announcements and all
Right.
those other types of things. The other days, so Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, that being one of those days, most of the same balloons will stand up, and they actually do kind of still do things at the same time. We just don't have it fully choreographed.
Yeah, they were kind of all hot inflating at the same time. But basically and occasionally there will be other random pilots who will join in
Right.
to the Dawn Patrol. So it's not the orchestrated, produced show, although they're basically going through kind of the same routine down there. So that's why we're
Look at the
not.
shadow on the floating oasis.
Yeah, well, somebody is on the
somebody's got a
ground
light
using one
shining.
of those spotlights, and
Right,
they're
and you see
checking
the
I think,
lines
the rigging
through
of
it.
the balloon.
Yeah. So, I'm hearing them on the radio do some coordination down there. There is some talk about coordinating the Dawn Patrol across every single morning. I'm not sure whether that will come to fruition in future years or not, but there is
Well,
some talk about that.
You know,
So-
it used to be, now that we're going on live at 6 a.m. every morning, that really isn't that big an issue. It used to be that we didn't start till much closer to about 7 a.m. in time for the national anthem. And so on days of doing Dawn Patrol, you know, I typically, the guy that does it, I had to be up here like an hour early, so it
Right.
made a difference in my schedule. Now that we're doing Balloon Fiesta Live and we're on at 6 a.m., we're coming on the air just prior to them starting fans. And so, you know, if it were to go all 9 days, I don't see that it would have a great impact on us. Certainly, it may have some more impact on the field of balloons and the organizing, the staff, and you know
That kind of stuff, yeah.
those things. But it really wouldn't have a great deal of impact on us because we're here now and we're talking about them. It's just we're not using the choreographed script and doing the whole full-blown show. So
A lot of folks
Yeah.
checking in on our Facebook feed this morning as well. So I just saw good morning from Luxembourg, from Bristol, England, where it's raining and blowing a gale. And let's see, what else nice? North Richland Hills, Texas, the Netherlands,
Yeah, there's somebody
Michigan,
from the
Vidalia,
Netherlands.
Louisiana, Downers Grove, Illinois, I saw. That's where my grandparents lived when I was a little kid.
There's Great Falls, Virginia. Somebody noticed commented they were watching for Cynthia Seal. We've seen Cynthia every day. I'm sure we'll see her today. Lisa Carr, who's become an avid follower, is watching from LaGuardia Airport. Are you off on a trip somewhere, Lisa?
Come and hear
Kinda
me.
curious. Maybe come in here. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, so again, thanks for everyone checking in here this morning. Appreciate that. There's a flicker burn that they're doing on our Dawn Patrol. And you can already see when the balloons hit those burners and light up the field, we have a huge crowd out there already.
Yeah, I could
This
tell
is
that
already
from
a
the-
busy day.
Yeah, I could tell just from the traffic, and a couple of people are commenting already
That
about
they're
the heavy
watching the
traffic.
traffic.
They're watching traffic out there. Lithuania watching this morning. I think that may be the first check-in I've seen from Lithuania. I had one from
South Korea too, Montreal, Canada.
Yeah, South Korea, Memphis.
Yeah, Sarah's here all the way from Memphis. Says she's here.
Oh, okay. I was just looking at locations. I wasn't really
Right.
reading some of the comments this morning.
Hey, and I know you talked about it being cold here, but it's
Yeah.
in the mid-30s here.
Yeah.
I noticed this morning Denver was 18.
Oh, goodness. Let's don't do this from Denver then.
Not at this time of the year. Not
Yeah.
at this time of the year.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, look at the
Look
size
at the size
of
of
that
the
crowd.
crowd out there.
Yeah, I know. I left about the same time I normally do, and usually I'm here before 5. This morning I got here a little bit after. The traffic on Alameda was already pretty heavy. Part of that was because they had not yet closed the the westbound lanes, and we're routing traffic inbound to the Balloon Fiesta yet. So the eastbound lanes of Alameda were pretty well jammed, and folks coming up from the west, from 2nd Street, etc., were mixing in with traffic, general parking traffic. Usually they have a split where those of us with various passes come in one lane and the general public goes in another lane, but this morning it was all mixed. So the traffic was a little more jammed up today. They don't, during the week, they don't do as much traffic, much street blockage as they do on the weekends, because there are, obviously the residents of Albuquerque, you have to go to work on Fridays, weekdays.
Isn't that sad?
You know, dadgummit.
We do close school for Thursday and
do,
Friday.
yeah.
We call it our fall break. And so that we can, kids can come out. You had a great day yesterday with Kids Day. You know all those packs we talked about yesterday for Kids Day?
Yeah, the goodie bags?
Yeah, they got rid of all of them very fast yesterday, and there's something like 5,000 of them that handed out.
And I have to say thank you to Delta Dental for the toothpaste, and I also have to say that it's unique toothpaste. Listen to the roar as Rick Jones is getting everyone. It's in the first place, it's pink. That surprised me when I opened it up to brush my teeth this morning.
Oh.
And it has kind of a fruit gum sort of flavor, so it's definitely a kid's toothpaste, but I'm not above using it, so.
Toothpaste is toothpaste,
absolutely.
Right?
It saved me $1 going to the dollar store to buy some. So, yeah. But it was just, it wasn't what I expected at all at 4 a.m. when you open up to, to brush your teeth, and suddenly it's pink and tastes like fruit striped gum. So, yeah.
So looks like most of our Dawn Patrol guys are off, with the others shortly to follow.
Yeah, it looks like they're all flying. That's a great sign.
That was Michael Scott, and then there's Greg with Floating Oasis. As
Michael
we
with his lighted crown line there. You see the blue lights on the crown. Seeing lots of blue this morning. I'm feeling pretty good about that.
There
blue
you go.
My favorite color. Just so you
There's
know.
a great shot of Rick. Just blanked out in his name with the marker lights hanging below the basket there as well. Just our friend Doug Gant, who flies Hamlet when pigs fly.
Right.
He came by this morning while we were still down at breakfast and left us some balloon pins.
I saw that. Yeah.
And we appreciate that. I texted him a thank you here and asked him if he was going to fly or do a static display. Look, there's the basket going off. They're just getting ready to set the marker lights down off the side. Nice shot, guys. Anyway, Doug tells me he's not sure whether he's going to fly or static. Static, of course, means stand up and stay on the field. Apparently, what he's being told is that all the winds are to the south. There will not be much of a box and not a lot of steerage, at least not at the moment. We did feel a little bit of gust come up, so we're getting a little bit of the drainage setting up. And a lot of times when the drainage sets up, the box actually sets up. So we'll have to wait and see what happens when the sun comes up in, let's see, about another 50 minutes or so.
I know, I'm not sure that Ruth is able to watch the feed while she's out with our mobile cameras, but Ruth, just so you know, Helen Hilton says good morning to Ruth from Missouri Valley.
And all of our Dawn Patrol balloons are in the sky.
Yeah, and Donna Alvarez says she's been watching every day this week from Espanola, New Mexico. Great job, guys. You're a lot of fun. Well, thanks.
Thanks.
We have fun doing this. If it were work, I don't think either one of us would be here.
That's for sure. Look at that shot.
Oh, man, that's awesome, isn't it?
It is.
Another awesome morning. There is some speed up here, though.
There is a little bit.
Look at them passing just overhead. Look right over to your right there, Art, just over our shoulder. Very low level, just
that's
above
part
us.
of that drainage, I think, that I felt a few moments ago.
North drainage wind, which is fairly common here, so that's not anything to be concerned about.
Sets up because of the mountain on our right, to the east of and the river valley off to the west. Actually, there's volcano cones even farther out, so we have this nice big valley here. And of course, north of us, Santa Fe is at a higher altitude, so things are starting to drop down, so you get the winds coming off the mountains and the volcano down to the bottom towards the river, from Santa Fe down towards us and beyond.
It's kind of like a funnel, and it just funnels right down through here.
So we get these drainage winds early, and of course the air mass has to be replaced, so the upper winds come back at a higher level and drop in as they cool off, and we just get this circular or box
having breakfast pattern. Having breakfast downstairs this morning, one of the pilots, and we were looking at a couple of wind profiles, and there were actually 2 different boxes showing up. Now we know that'll change as the wind begins to mix, but at that particular time, just a little after 5 o'clock this morning, there were 2 boxes, 2 different altitude levels this
Oh,
morning.
yeah?
Yeah, which could make for an interesting morning for competition. But we know, again, that changes once these drainage winds kick in, as they're beginning to do. And then, of course, once the sun comes up and we get more mixing of the atmosphere, what we see early on doesn't always hold true through the rest of the morning.
Well, it's always changing, as you know. Wind always changes, the weather always changes, and it's just part of the way the atmosphere and weather, wind, all that stuff works. It's constantly trying to get to a state of equilibrium,
right.
And I don't think it ever gets there.
Joe Zavada is watching, and hey, Joe, it's just a quick time for me to say, don't forget, buddy, you're supposed to be doing me an article about the U.S. National Championships for Ballooning Magazine, so I'm loving that you're watching, but if you're not flying this morning, you might want to spend a little time at the computer, okay?
Get something done there.
Yeah, just a friendly reminder. No pressure, no pressure.
So one of our other Dawn Patrol balloons down at the bottom part of the screen there, that would be Jester Unwinds, Matthew Grotee from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. There's Tim Taylor.
Is it pronounced Grotee?
That's what they told me it was.
Ah, well, see, because when I've done the Dawn Patrol show, I've announced him as Grote, and so my apologies if that's the case. I didn't look at the pronouncer on the spotting chart.
I have access to the pilot list ahead of time now that I work part-time for Balloon Fiesta.
Right.
So I put out a note to the pilots, and I said, hey, we'd like to know if there's a special pronouncer of your name, of the balloon name, and what's the story behind your balloon name, and a few other things.
Right.
And about half of them actually responded to that. So he tells me it's Grotee.
Ah, well then my apologies, and I will make a note to self to remember to correct that as we move forward with Dawn Patrol show over the next
2 more mornings.
What I wanted, the next 2 mornings, yeah.
2 more mornings.
And as long as we're into that, not only do I sometimes mispronounce people's names, I sometimes don't even get the gender right, and I have to apologize this morning to Ashley Moore, the pilot of Wes the Wolf. I have a niece, lovely young lady, Ashley Moyer, and so when I saw Ashley Moore spelled the same way, my brain just put 2 and 2 together, and I came up with 5, and I announced Ashley as being a female pilot, and he is certainly everything but that, as I learned yesterday. And one of our loyal listeners pointed that out on Facebook, made a point of telling Ashley that I had announced that he was female.
Not a direct personal message.
So
just told the world that you messed it up.
Right, so thank you, Richard, for calling me out on that, and you know who you are. And my apologies to Ashley. So Richard, you could go now online and announce to the world that I have apologized to Ashley for placing him in the wrong gender. We try to be gender neutral sometimes, but yeah, it was just a common mistake. We've never met, and strangely enough, because he's at Longleat, and I don't think we've met, and Ashley, if we have, then my apologies again. But yeah, I just jumped to a conclusion and said that Ashley was, because we have a lot of female pilots out here.
And after all my work to color code
I know,
their
you
names
did all that work.
for gender.
And oh, you color coded them for gender?
You see, the name is blue.
Is that what that blue means?
Yeah. Call up one of
See,
your...
I should take a look at this before I get here.
Before you get here.
Or I would have known that. Anyway, enough of that. But Ashley, my apologies, sir. And I'll try not to make that mistake again.
So a number of other folks checking in. Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Yeah.
And now Tina says, being there live for the first time blew out our expectations. The awe and wonder of it must be experienced.
Nancy
Royer. Absolutely right.
Sorry, Nancy Royer is watching from Lexington, South Carolina. Lubbock, Texas, checking in. So,
someone's asking, are we a go today? Well, we just saw the Dawn Patrol show is a go. You can see they're just barely starting to get some light over the edge of the Sandia Mountains to our west there, or to our east. And so we are still about 25 minutes away from the national anthem. We're 50 minutes away from sunrise this morning, and we start launching about 7, so we still have about 35 minutes before we get to that point. There's a shot of the pilot briefing.
That's the officials' tower at pilot briefing.
Yeah, I'm starting to see some folks look like they're starting to
they're
walk away. No, I think they're walking away.
Oh.
I think we're getting to the end of the pilot's briefing. It started at 6 o'clock.
Richard says, Glen Moyer, good man. Well, you know, I try to if nothing, if I don't do anything, Richard, I try to own it to my mistakes, and that was a mistake. So, but thanks for calling me out on that. Good morning, Judy Cass. Nice to know that you're out there watching.
Hey, your friends from Beaumont, Texas are online too.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a different person from Beaumont, Texas. Beaumont is my hometown. My mom and my sister and brother-in-law still call Beaumont home. I get down there a couple of times a year usually.
And someone's
used to
watching.
work at. I started out in this crazy broadcasting business there at KAYC and KAYD radio at KWIC, and also got into television at KFDM TV Channel 6, and then also worked at KBMT Channel 12 in Beaumont. So that's where all my media life began, right after I got out of Lamar University.
My good friend Cindy's watching from her warm bed in Placitas. That's just out to the northeast of where we are. Susan, I was watching from Corrales, hoping they're going to fly that way today.
Going that way, yeah.
I don't think so, Susan.
No, doesn't look like it this morning.
Not with the first indications.
Barb Tomlin says, wish that the pilot briefing were covered every day, that she really enjoyed the coverage yesterday. Well, I will say, Barb, that Henry Rosenbaum has invited us back up onto the tower at any time that we like, and we may do that again before we leave this week.
The game plan is to be out there for pilot's briefing again tomorrow morning.
Top of the morning, Pauline Baker checking in from the Emerald Isle from Ireland. Good to have you with us again. We miss you being here, Pauline. I know you're at home working because of Brexit, you and Malcolm, but I'm looking forward to going to Ireland. I'm already making plans. Next year is the 50th Irish National Championship, and I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
easy for you to say.
Yeah, right, exactly. Ruth Lind has managed to catch up with Tarp Head. Ruth?
Yes, I'm down here with Tarp, and we are snuggled up because it is cold down here. You're a Georgia boy. How are you coping with all this, Tarp?
Well, this is the first cold of the year for me, and so I'm dealing with it. But every time I come to Fiesta, I always pack long underwear, no matter what the forecast is. So I'm okay.
Now, I want to know more about what Head Balloons is up to this year in Helen, Georgia. I've seen a lot of your envelopes on the field. Anything in particular we should look out for in the skies over Fiesta this morning?
Oh, yes, we do have a lot of pretty new balloons out here. We've been busy back at the factory sewing up some new stuff, and we've got quite a few new balloons out here.
That's terrific. And you have your son JT out here with you. What's he up to this week?
JT is too busy playing soccer to get his model balloon out, but he told me this morning on the way to the field, he said, Daddy, we've got to get my model balloon out. And so I guess we're going to have a model balloon out later today.
How old is
that'll
JT
be
now?
Fun. How old is JT?
He's 8 now.
He's 8 years old, and we will look forward to seeing him in his model balloon, and I'll let you go get under a hot burner.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ruth. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I just realized I hadn't seen JT yet, and yeah, I'm feeling older all the time. I was talking with Nancy Abruzzo just the other morning, and she was telling us that Mary Pat is now a senior in college. And I
hard to believe.
Oh, gosh, because I remember her when she was just a wee thing, so yeah.
The sad part about that is it makes us realize how old we're getting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say. It brings home the fact that I've been sitting up here on this tower and others through the years for 30 years now. So we've seen a lot of life, a lot of ballooning go by in those years.
So a few moments ago, we showed you the shot of the officials tower, the pilot briefing tower, and how things were wrapping up from there. So we have gotten the official word that pilot's briefing is over. Green flag is going up.
All right.
So we'll be getting underway here on schedule. Our special shaped balloons, as we do on Thursday and Friday morning every week, we're going to set them up along the east side of the field, the first 2 or 3 rows. They will have the opportunity to fly if they'd like, or do a static and stay up on the east side of the row of the field. The reason we put them on the east side is because we set competition up kind of on the middle and west side of the field, and they're going to open the targets this morning at 8 a.m.
Okay.
So
like
if we
the other morning.
Yeah, like the other morning at 8 o'clock. That's usually the time we try and get them open, but so we're going to get the targets open at 8. So we'll see the special shapes stand up on the east side of the field. And once again today, I'll be going down into the target area so that we have a camera and me down there. I don't become a target, but
well,
although
don't say that too loud.
Well, because someone threw. They weren't throwing at me, but we had one come right down next to us the other day. So once again, we will be live in the target area this morning, and the competition this morning is a ring toss. In fact, my prop is down there in the trailer. I forgot to bring it up.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to go get that. So.
Well, you can show it to us during the once you head down to the target, even.
Well, I suspect it's. This is a day that pilots really wait for. It's a day. This is the day if they're going to fly competition any day. This is the day they do it. Stemming back from the days when it was a key grab,
there was for a new car or then a new motorcycle, new truck. Yeah.
I really liked the 1 year that there were 5 sets of keys on the pole.
Yeah.
And you came across and you were to grab 1 set of keys. If you got a set of keys, you knew that you had won a vehicle.
Right.
You just didn't know what
vehicle.
Didn't
know which vehicle.
And so later on that day, or the awards banquet, I'm not sure which, you came back and you put the key in one car. Does it open and start it? Et cetera,
right.
and to find out which one you won. I like that one. Now with the ring pole, because more and more people are getting in there, we can't give away a zillion cars, and we don't want to give away one and disappoint 550 other pilots. So now we put cash on the pole, and not literally, but if you ring the pole, that ringing the pole is worth some cash. And now we're talking about, I think, 2,000. It's at least 2,000 on the poles.
Excuse me, I yawn when I get cold, and the wind has begun to pick up and it's getting cold. I think it's $2,000 that's on the.
And there are 5 poles.
There are 5 poles. Yeah.
So $10,000 worth of cash out there, and of course they'll also be dropping markers on X's for the overall competition.
Yeah, because today is the last day of competition, and there we are.
Thank you.
I was just rings. This is your prop, but I'm wearing everything else around my neck. I might as well put it around my neck too. I'm not a pole, but the object is.
So you put that around your neck,
by, and there's a pole out there, and you just drop that right over the. Yeah.
So you
like
scored.
That.
Yeah. So good thing the pole is only
the pole's not nearly as big around as we are. Thank goodness.
But this is the size of the ring.
Or we'd need a full-size hula hoop.
And you'll see some people go ahead and give it a toss.
Yeah,
they don't usually get the pole.
If you're far enough away, you've got to toss. You're probably not going to get it.
Probably not going to get it.
You've got to be right where you can just reach out and
lay it over there. Yeah. Although we got some great pictures last year of somebody reaching way out with 2 hands like that. Everybody tries. Everybody works, and so that we'll be watching that. I want to say about 5 pilots last year got to the poles.
I think that's about right. Yeah.
But that gets started at 8 o'clock today, and like I said, double competition really, because they're going to be doing ring the pole, and they're going to be dropping their markers. And I was just thinking, because we didn't do the competition yesterday, there would have been cash prizes from yesterday.
That's right.
I'll bet those will get rolled over to today. They
so
usually do.
More money out there.
Yeah.
And it's as you were saying, as I was saying, it's the last day for a competition toward the overall championship, and there's some very, very substantial prize money to be given away for that as well. And so these guys will be extra anxious to score well this morning, because it's their last chance to move up in the standings, since we didn't have competition yesterday morning.
So again, if you've just tuned in on our feed, our Facebook or our YouTube or balloonfiesta.com, we are Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. A lot of the XTO folks out here again this morning. And we're going to have, I think, a great day of flying. Just a little bit of breeze here, so it'll be a little quick getting out of the field. And we understand there may not be a box this morning, but once the sun comes up, everything changes.
Anything's possible,
and anything can. So, all right. So just listening to see, because we're getting approaching our national anthem. Start at 6:45. It's 6:33 here now. And just a reminder, we are on every night at 6:30 when we have evening events. And in the morning, we're on at 6 o'clock in the morning.
14 degrees in Taos this morning, and that's not that far away.
Yeah, about 2.5 hours north.
Yeah.
Yep. They're also 1,500, 1,800 feet higher in altitude than we are.
Yeah, so that makes it interesting. I was watching some of the comments earlier, and I think someone said it had snowed in Kansas last night, if I read that correctly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
City,
I looked at the
Pennsylvania.
weather
Good
map this
morning.
morning. I looked at the weather map this morning, and
Yeah.
this cold front that is coming through,
massive.
it is really massive.
It is.
has the Arctic air with it, and will be kind of covering up the entire country over here over the next couple of days. I
Well,
think.
you know,
So-
that I know for some of us that live in the South, it's actually not that unwelcome because it has been unseasonably warm the entire summer. I know when I got back from the UK in late September, when we were at Plano even, we were seeing the days where it was still in the 90s,
Yeah.
even before I came out here. And that's just crazy for late September, almost October, for it to be that, still be that hot. And even yesterday, I got a notice, one of the apps that I have sent me a notice that said it's going to be appreciably cooler at home in Keithville, Louisiana, where I live. And it was only the high yesterday was going to be 71. I'm like, cooler? That's, you know, geez, that's early spring or late spring, early summer temperature, 70 degrees. It should be in the 50s. It's fall. It's supposed to be. Is it autumn? Is it officially autumn yet? Have we had first? I think we have.
Yes, we have.
First day of autumn, so it should be. We should be enjoying those nice crisp days when the leaves are turning and all that sort of stuff. It shouldn't be 70 degrees or more.
Well, and actually, for most of the state of New Mexico, last night, this overnight we've just experienced, was the first freeze warning and hard freeze warning. You know, they only put those out for the first time it happens. They don't do it every night
Right.
once you get into the winter season.
Well, and I noticed watching one of the local stations the other night, they said that this would be, if it did freeze tonight here in Albuquerque, it would be well ahead of schedule. Normally the first freeze, I think they were saying, was around November the 4th, so a couple of weeks ahead of time.
So we're seeing the Dos Equis balloon being cold inflated now.
Anybody want a cold beer?
Scott Appleman, who happens to be the CEO of Rainbow Riders, the official ride concessionaire, providing rides to more than 360 people here every single day.
I'm giving up on my computer gloves and going to a warmer pair.
There you
because
go.
The wind has begun to kick up, and
I just put one of the little hand warmers in.
I
my
saw you
one
doing
glove.
that. That's what made me think. I
Yeah.
had these other heavier gloves in my bag, and I'm not so concerned about playing on the computer this morning that I'm going to deal with that.
Hey, so while we're getting things underway here, our balloon meister, Henry Rosenbaum, has come back to see us.
All right, and Glenn, good morning.
Good morning,
a couple minutes
sir.
before we get underway.
You
And
got your warm hat on, I
do,
see.
Yeah.
warm hat, warm gloves,
There you go.
Yeah.
and some undergarments. So,
Too
yes.
much information.
Too much,
No,
yeah.
no,
Time
I
out. TMI.
But hey, but cold, it does not matter to us today. We're here on this Friday. It's a beautiful day. We're going to see all the balloons here today.
All right.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've told the crowd the special shapes that are here, the non-competitors that will fly off the field. But
Right.
here's what's going to be unique today, and I just wanted to come share this with y'all. You know, typically we do the pole ring toss, and we're going to do that.
Right.
But on the field after that, just
We got
south
our
of
ring.
that,
We're
that's the
ready.
ring. Yeah, so that's some cash prize on each pole, and also our sponsor out there from Digitool is giving away 2 Digitools today. So
Wow.
we added
Wow.
a twist. The first person to ring a pole will win one, and the last person to ring a pole
Oh.
will win
Oh,
one.
nice.
Therefore, if you want to be one in the end of the pack there, you
Yeah.
still have a chance to win not only some cash prize, but also a
Outstanding.
an outstanding instrument pack. But here's the unique parts. Normally we only have one task south of the poles. Today we have 2 tasks. We have a maximum double drop.
Okay.
And we have 2 sets of those on the east side of the field and the west side. And then we're going to use those X's for the maximum as a fly-in task.
Oh,
so
wow.
the pilots are going to have 2 tasks today. We're trying to make up a little bit
Is
for
that
yesterday.
I was going to say, trying to make up for the
Make up
loss
for
of yesterday,
yesterday.
give
So we-
those that are competing for the overall
Yes.
a couple more task chances to gain some points.
Exactly
Yeah.
right, Glenn.
Okay.
So
So
anyway,
we're going to come in, we're going to ring a pole, then the maximum distances are those triangles. So drop on that, drop on the X,
X.
and then drop on the other maximum.
You got it, Art.
set.
Art, you might
What?
want to go ride with somebody. And, give
Well, I'm
them
going to
a
be
hand.
out there with them again.
Okay,
so
great,
yeah,
yes.
so yeah, because usually we do a minimum double drop. You want to be on the other side outside of those triangles. And we've spent a lot of time talking about that in previous presentations I've done. But a maximum still in the triangle, but at the farthest
So
end.
it's one marker in each triangle on either
Yes.
side of the X, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus the X for
Plus
the
the
other
X.
task.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of things falling out of the sky.
Whoa, that's going to
Yeah.
be exciting.
So it should be
Yeah.
great coverage for y'all and your announcers out there. It's going to be fabulous.
Well,
It is.
it'll be good for him if the wind's coming, it stays as it is. When these guys come to the south, I'm sure you reminded them when they land down here to take down as quick, because it ends up, I have a wall of balloons in front of me, and I just have to say, Art, it's yours, and I go get a cup of hot chocolate.
Okay.
One of the pilots told us he thought it was going to be a one-pass time through there. There doesn't seem to be a box shaping up.
Yeah, there's not a box at all today, but we understand the box will be back for tomorrow and Sunday.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And tonight, also, the Glowdeo looks fantastic.
Right.
Good.
And all the other activities that come along with the Glowdeo.
All righty. Henry, thanks for coming up.
No, I had a
I'm
couple
gonna
minutes.
I'm going to get my ring back so I can go score.
Yeah.
Please.
I need a new Digitools.
You just have to be the first
Or the last.
if
Yeah,
you
well,
wanna
I'll
win
be
that
out there.
instrument
We'll
back.
time it. We'll just wait till your guys are doing that 10-second countdown.
And he'll just sneak his ring over.
Of
When
course, I don't know if I
That's
can
right.
get 25 feet
I was
high
gonna
off the
say,
ground to
yeah.
get it out. And my ring doesn't have any identification that it's mine. So, yeah, I'd be DQ'd.
Yeah, well.
All right.
It looks like the balloon of the day is getting ready to take off.
It is.
All right.
We're getting close.
Let y'all continue on with that. Thank
All
y'all
right.
both.
Okay.
Thanks, Henry.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Henry.
the update.
See you later.
All right. Great news. Excellent news. And the maximum double drop. Don't usually do that one.
No.
So that's and then to use the X of the double drop as a whole nother task.
So there'll be
So
each
that's
pilot has a ring and 3 markers to drop today.
Wow. And when they're coming in on that maximum double drop, it's going to be a fairly rapid
It's going to be
drop,
quick.
drop, depending on how fast
Yeah.
they're moving through. And boy, that's going to
I've seen sometimes when you run those types of competitions where you're moving so quickly, you just take all 3 markers and toss them over the side of the basket and hope they land
and
somewhere.
hope they land somewhere
Yeah.
in there. Yep. So, all right.
So are you checking on the
I'm going to go ahead and check with
the
them
anthem?
and make sure I know
Okay.
which channel we're going to be on this morning.
The balloon you're seeing right now while Art's doing that on screen is Tim Cloyd. Tim's balloon is called Glorious Drifter. Tim is a member of the board of directors of the Balloon Federation of America. He too has put lights, I see, on his crown line. You can see those blinking lights off to the left side of the balloon there. Apparently he didn't fly earlier with Dawn Patrol, but he's standing the balloon up now. Every year Tim does a long distance, what we call a long jump, to raise funds for cancer research. He's been doing that for a number of years now. And the Dos Equis balloon is also standing upright, the black balloon to the left side of your screen there with the double X's. I don't always fly balloons, but when I do, it's Dos Equis. So we're just checking now.
We're 4 minutes away from
4 minutes,
the launch
okay.
of the balloon of the day. So 4 minutes away from the liftoff of Dos Equis.
And in that shot there, you might see as you look a little up to the top right corner of the balloon, you see a little dot in the air there. You might think that's a balloon in the distance. It's actually not. That's actually an orange ball marker strung on a power line there. Anytime you have power lines in the vicinity of aviation activities, you put these they have these orange balls that attach around the power line, and those are to help pilots spot the lines, because sometimes it's very difficult to see the lines. You really, in ballooning, you learn to look for utility poles. You can't see the lines, but you can see the poles, and if you see 2 poles, you assume there is a line between them. But in areas where there is aviation activity, they typically put those orange balls up on the power lines as an additional aid to pilots to see the lines.
Can't stress how important that training is of pilots to look for the poles and not the line.
Exactly.
And when you see a pole, assume that there's a line there.
Because there are a lot of times you can't see the lines. And in parts of the country, it's also difficult even to find the poles. They are sometimes
get
hidden
buried
in trees, especially along roadways and things like that.
This is our As Time Flies balloon getting rigged up there. I see Tristan McLean, the pilot of that balloon, although with a little mishap. We have other folks flying it for him this week. And so they're down here on the south end. Of course, we need to get the balloon of the day out, and then they'll be one of the first ones up after that. If he's first wave, I'm not sure if they're first or second.
There you can see the lighted crown lines on Tim Floyd's balloon. There are 2 crown lines out this morning, and you see the lights blinking on those 2 ropes. Just an added measure of safety, really, so the crowd in the darkness, because Tim typically flies in the Dawn Patrol, can see that rope and not be tripped by it. We have quite a conversation going on about, because you and I mentioned whether there was or was not a box this morning, talking with Henry, and there are a number of people who are describing and explaining for others on our Facebook feed just what a box is, what we're talking about. And it is, as someone pointed out, it is a wind phenomenon where the surface winds go in one direction and the upper winds move in the other. And as a balloonist, you can launch off the surface, and typically the surface winds are north to south because it's that drainage wind we've been talking about coming up down the canyon. And so they launch and they move to the south, and then as you climb and gain altitude, the upper winds are moving from south to north. And so you can fly back in the direction from which you came, fly past where you launched, and then drop back down.
Ladies and gentlemen, going to interrupt Glenn because it is time for our national anthem, performed this morning by the Sandia Singers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The Sandia Singers and our national anthem. Scott Appleman and the Dos Equis balloon taking the colors high above. And he's actually got a little bit of speed there as well. At first he didn't. Yeah. So we've got a little bit of breeze, kind of a little calmer, a little breezier. But as we just heard a few minutes ago, no box this morning. It's going to be kind of a one-pass time across the field.
It is indeed.
But many tasks, as we've heard, that they're going to be able to do that.
Yep, and just had a quick shout out to our good friend Mark Passan, the balloon artist over in the UK, who's checked in with us this morning, said his lovely wife is watching today, and she looks forward to meeting you and I when he comes back to Balloon Fiesta.
All right.
I would assume, Mark, that means you're bringing your wife with you. Otherwise, she couldn't meet us if it's just you that's coming back to Fiesta. Just a little pedantic argument there, but yeah, I would love to meet your lovely wife. And look forward to that. Love to see you come back to Fiesta. Mark, of course, for many years was the artist who produced our Special Shapes Rodeo Glowdeo posters, and today is, of course, Rodeo Glowdeo Day.
And you know, we've not talked about the official poster as well at all this year.
That's true, we haven't.
We started last year with the number one in a series of 4, leading back up to the 50th, bringing Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner back.
Right.
And so Wile E. Coyote still in pursuit of the Roadrunner, a story that started, as I said, 2 years ago. This year's poster, they're both in balloons, and there's actually a Coyote balloon in the poster as well.
Uh-huh.
And so it is really a great set of posters. I think you can still find a couple of the first years so that you can still get that set. Although they're going to be hard to come by as people realize it's a set of 4. They're going to be they're just fabulous posters. I of course managed to have year 1 and year 2, and looking forward to the rest of the set over the next 2 years.
I've got a few of the past posters, and I have all of Mark Passan's posters because we met here at Balloon Fiesta.
Yes, I met him 1 year as well. I don't have the whole set of those.
He was always kind enough to make sure I got one of the signed and numbered posters. And yeah, so it's interesting that they, of course, the Roadrunner and the Coyote is the Albuquerque version of a task called the Hare and Hounds, where one balloon takes off first and is designated as the hare. All the others become the hounds and give chase. And so being here in New Mexico, they sort of changed that task to the Coyote and the Roadrunner and the Coyotes. The Roadrunner takes off and all the other balloons become coyotes chasing.
Usually
hopefully
about-
not dropping anvils and other things from the sky,
Just
as we know that the Coyote often did.
Well, you know, as you said, the hair balloon or the Roadrunner takes off, and then they would land, and everyone would try and fly to that balloon. We've kind of adjusted that when we do that normally. The balloon will land, lay out an X,
Right.
and either deflate or fly on, so the balloon's not standing there.
Yeah.
Which now means you have to kind of watch where they're going, and then once you get up, spot where they are. Actually makes it a little more difficult to
And ideally,
keep track of
you
them.
have to launch close enough following the Roadrunner
Yes.
or the hare, because if you're too far back in the pack, you'll have no clue where they went.
And the winds, the chance of the winds
Yeah.
changing on you are much greater.
That's right. I don't know if you brought extra hand warmers packets, but if you did, I'd love to steal a pair.
Take this one,
Oh, well, okay.
because I got one in here that works on one side here. While you're putting
Well-
that in, let's head on down to Ruth Lind and Andy Baird, one of our gas participants.
Thank you. I was listening to you guys talking about that and remembering that when I was a gas pilot, I used to drop giant zucchinis out of balloons from time to time. They weren't anvils, but it was fun nonetheless. Anyway, yes, I'm here with Andy Baird. The nice thing about it being so cold on the field is that I get to snuggle up with all my interview people. And Andy just completed his very first America's Challenge. Tell us about your flight, Andy.
You know, it was surreal. It's first America's Challenge. It's only my fourth gas flight. I've been coming to Fiesta for 26 years. I have always wanted to fly in the America's Challenge. Never thought I would because we have a booth here and it's a busy time. This year we decided to. Absolutely surreal. The launch was fantastic. You know, there's all the commotion, there's a national anthem going on, and we take off, and it's as though somebody just turns down the volume control. We rise away, the commotion falls away, and we're in silence. You got the lights of the city, the silhouette of the mountain. Absolutely surreal.
It is amazing to do that. Now, Andy, you are part of the sort of new gas balloon club in North Carolina, and I love the work that club is doing in bringing more people into our sport. Can you talk a little bit about how that club works?
Sure. So gas ballooning is a difficult sport to do solo. So the idea was, why don't we get a bunch of people together, form a club, buy a gas balloon, and then help each other get rated. Help each other learn. So we've got educational sessions, but we have 10 owners of the balloon and 10 associate members, so we have 20 people involved in the club as a minimum. That's how I got my start in gas ballooning, and did my training flights. That's how many of the club members now are gas rated. It's a wonderful way to participate in the sport of gas ballooning, and it's a great community and great camaraderie.
Is there a waiting list for new members in that club?
There is a waiting list for new members in that club, but we want to form other clubs. The whole idea of doing this was to create a model for creating these kinds of clubs all around the country. So we are the North Carolina chapter of this organization, and we hope to have one here in Albuquerque and potentially in every state in the nation.
Where would people go to get more information on the Gas Balloon Club?
Well, BFA.net is a great source to start. There are lots of contacts there, and they can put you in touch with the members of the club. I think that's probably the easiest way to really get a hold of us.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you for talking to us here on Balloon Fiesta Live. I hope you enjoy your flight.
My pleasure.
Back to Glen and Art.
Hey, Ruth, lots more comments about your hat and lots
Yeah.
of congratulations coming in off our Facebook page. Congratulations to Andy on a great flight. So we thank them for their interview, and as you can see, our balloons are quickly filling up with cold air, and we will be airborne shortly.
I'm ready for them to fill it with hot air myself.
Yeah.
And start venting a little bit of it up this direction. That would be nice.
There you go. That row of yellow balloons through there with the other colors in there. Rainbow Riders balloons. We mentioned Scott Appleman and Dos Equis taking off on the balloon of the day this morning. He owns Rainbow Riders. They are the official ride concessionaire. As I said earlier, providing rides, paid rides, bucket list, check-off marks to more than 360 people every single day. And here goes one right now. Just
That is
taking off.
that's a close-up of Sean Askren, who's launching the Intel balloon just in front of us and to our left here at the south end of the field.
John likes to get up early and up and out.
He does, yeah. Sean gets usually one of the first balloons up into the sky, and he is this morning.
Using the turning vent so that as we pull back, We can see the
There's a nice shot of the Intel balloon.
logo no matter which direction you're looking at it
That's
from.
right.
We've seen a number of shots of our As Time Flies balloon, XTO-sponsored balloon, the red one when we've seen people down at the throat holding it open and cold air being blown into it. That is our XTO balloon, one of our 2 XTO balloons. It's the one we'll be carrying our balloon camera aloft today. And Stephen Williams, who's usually been directing for us all week, is going to be the camera person in the balloon today, while Gary Williams is our director this morning.
I think it's official. Ruth's hat is a hit. There are a lot of comments coming in on Facebook from people that are loving the hat, Ruth.
It is.
So well done, you.
Well, when she walked into breakfast this morning, there was, wow, that's a great hat. It certainly looks warm.
It does look warm, yeah.
Look at that shot, looking up inside the
color.
balloon.
Yeah, look at that.
I always love that. So someone might wonder, what are those X's going around the balloon? Those are attachment points
Those
for
are targets, aren't they?
If you were in another balloon, they might be targets.
Yeah.
Oh, look, someone's peeking in through the top.
Yeah, checking the top rigging.
So those X's are actually attachment points for the centering lines to that parachute top.
Right.
Where that person just peeked their head in, you can actually see the colors are offset around there. That's the parachute top we've talked about a lot this week. It is being held in right now with Velcro tabs. Once they stand the balloon up, they'll release those Velcro tabs by pulling the top down. The top will reseat itself and stay in place due to the hot air. The lines that help that center so that it seals nicely is attached to the side of the balloon where those X's are. That's just extra load tape material because you're not just going to sew.
Because it becomes a stress point. And
exactly.
It's something to sew the rope to, yeah.
In fact, you can actually kind of see them all coming to the point coming down.
Smiley face on the parachute top. We've talked about that. If you're ever around ballooning, you can always, it's amazing to see some of the different artwork that pilots put on the parachute top. In this case, a smiley face kind of photobombing the shot there. I've seen some that have like a pull tab, like a pop top, which is kind of fun.
Yes.
On my first balloon, Yellow Rose, my balloon was yellow, but the parachute was a Texas flag, and I've seen others that have done the same. I actually copied the idea from some very good friends of mine, from Kevin and Linda Thompson, who had a balloon called Lone Star, and it had a Texas flag parachute top. So when I built my first balloon, I did the same with mine. I've seen other state flags up there. I've seen all kinds of different artwork sometimes that you'll see on parachute tops.
That smiley face is the top of Honeydew, Bill Walker, on the board of directors. And as you were saying, kind of photobombing between what was the other yellow one on the left, which is Zia, and the yellow on the right, which is our XTO balloon.
And I'm just going to go ahead and issue an open apology now. As the sun comes up, it always gets a few degrees cooler just before the sun rises, and so I'm sniffling a bit. My eyes are watering, and I'm yawning because I'm cold. So
there's Cynthia Seal.
Apologies right up front, folks.
The folks were watching for Cynthia Seal.
Yeah, there's Cynthia Seal.
Yeah.
There's New Mexico True Lee.
Bill Lee, the pilot.
And that's the balloon New Mexico True, and so the balloon is called New Mexico True Lee. All the Rainbow Riders. Look at the difference in the size of that Rainbow Riders. What are the little green sport
with the little green
right
one
there.
Stuck in there, yep.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh.
That's where you get the little private rides versus the lots more folks. Take your whole family in the big ones.
Well, yeah, and to be clear, we don't do private rides. The only rides to be had out here are our commercial rides, unless you're part of a balloon crew and you're flying with your pilot, of course.
Yes. I was referring more to the smaller number of people in the balloon.
I knew what you were saying, but I was afraid
right.
that someone would take the impression that there were other balloons that they could get rides in.
No,
smaller
you're
balloons,
absolutely
and they're
correct.
not.
Thanks for
the
clearing that up.
The only commercial rides available here are through Rainbow Riders.
And not only does Scott Appleman bring his entire fleet of Rainbow Riders balloons in, contracts with a number of other ride balloons around the country to come in and work for him as well. In fact, you see two of them, the two Jack balloons and one of the Sundance balloons there as well. And now that that other balloon has gotten out of the way, we get a better shot of Cynthia Seal.
Yeah, you know, I made the remark the other day about talking about this balloon, Cynthia Seal, and about the various menagerie of balloons that Andrew Holly has brought to us from Longleat, that someone should build an otter balloon. I just thought an otter is so cute. It would be a great little balloon like Cynthia Seal here. And I actually had a lady contact me who apparently is with some sort of an organization that might want to sponsor said balloon. And so we've been having some conversation back and forth. So maybe this time next year we'll be seeing a new otter special shape. That would be fun.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. right. Burners being tested there.
Yeah, I was just looking at the heat wave that you could see
going off of there.
and
Boy, I wish
thinking,
I had
wish
my
we had
hands
some
near
of that
that
up
one.
here.
Exactly.
Exactly. Look at this. We're about to have a great shot here.
Oh, yeah. Here now we're just
there
going
you go.
from cold to hot. Cold
Yep.
air has been packed into that balloon. Now we fire the burners up and heat that air. Oh yeah.
I would love to have my hands down around right there. We do have heaters.
working the camera right there would be great. Yours looks like it's gone out.
I believe it has, actually. Yeah, yours is no wonder
Mine's
it's
so
cold over here. Yours is working and mine's not.
Lots and lots of heat being put into the balloon, taking the temperature of the air from the 30, 35 degrees that it is. Probably by the time it stands up, it'll be 100 degrees at the top of the balloon. By the time they take off, probably closer to 175 degrees at the top of the balloon.
Yeah, although as cold as it is this morning, it might not have to be quite that warm inside the balloon because the balloons fly basically by the variance of the heat of the air, temperature of the air inside the envelope versus that outside. So when the air outside, the ambient air is cool or cold, it takes less heat for the balloon to fly. Speaking of flying, there goes Cynthia Seal. She's climbing up in front of the Sandias here to our east.
Sure. And like you said, standing it up probably only needs to get to about 100 degrees, maybe 110 inside to stand up. Taking off, especially if you put 3 or 4 people in the basket with you, you'll need a little more. But and for most of the fabric, most of the balloon fabric, the idea is to keep the temperature, the maximum temperature on the fabric is 250 degrees at the top. So you like to fly more in the 200 range. Some fabrics go a little bit higher, or higher rated than that. But about 250 degrees at the top is about the maximum temperature you want to have in your balloon.
I'm wondering if if my heater ran out of propane.
I bet that's it because I had started it. And I didn't see the propane guys come up here this morning.
Yeah, I don't know how to reach them either. I'm sure they're on our phone cards, but
they are.
I've got my hands in my pockets, so I'm not going to bother trying to track them down. But it would be nice to get that relit, perhaps.
See if I can get one of our folks.
You're the executive producer. Do some executiving, will you? Get my heater working again.
Let's see what we can do about that.
Along the front line of balloons here at the south end of the park where we're located, we see both of our XTO balloons. We are, again, powered by XTO, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. And right beside them, of course, is Dr. Tom McConnell's Zia balloon, and just to its left, that yellow balloon with a red and blue spiral you see around it, that is the Dr. Pepper balloon, the banner on the other side of the balloon. So we have Dr. Pepper, there's the Zia, and there are the 2 XTO Energy balloons. The yellow one that looks like someone spilled a bucket of rainbow paint on the top, and then the red balloon with the black, gray, and white bands around the equator, around the center of the balloon, XTO Energy. Off further to the left, opposite side of the field from where we're panning, we're actually looking over, I think that was just about to come into the screen, was Lindy, the Lindstrand special shape, and then I also see the preventive pest control balloon, green and white, with the Black Widow spider on the side beginning to inflate as well. There goes one of our XTO balloons. This is the yellow one that's getting airborne.
John Bolger flying that one for us this morning.
That's right. I've had a problem remembering John's name for some reason. There's John.
Well, there's 2 pilots on there, so you always have to take a look.
Oh, okay.
Tom is also flying that, so you have to take a look before you can call who's actually flying that. But he's up and away, and still a little quick right there. There
Still is, yeah. There goes the Zia balloon, Dr. Tom McConnell, or his son. One of the McConnells. There's several, I think, pilots in the family there. Usually when Dr. Tom is flying, we see he wears that traditional military campaign hat, and I don't see that on the pilot, so I'm guessing maybe that's his son. New Mexico True Lee has taken off from the north end of the field. Again, the field is so large now that we're able to launch from both ends simultaneously, from the south end here in front of our rooftop studio, and also from the north end down near the Sandia Reservation. So
the field splits about where the Rainbow Riders balloons are.
Yeah,
and we
they're
saw
kind of the middle
Bill
marker.
just right in the same, basically in the same row there.
Yeah.
There's a great shot of it.
Yeah,
see
New
all
Mexico
the
Truly.
Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. I think it's close how to say that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There he goes.
No habla español. And, oh, thank you, Dave. Chocolate just arriving on the set. There's another shot from one of our XTO cameras, our Balloon Fiesta Live camera in the balloon. As they're walking
Here we go.
away and getting
Shot
it
from our balloon camera. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Healing up in the air! Good morning, Albuquerque!
There they are. Having such a great time.
Yes.
Looking back on the field, the Fiesta balloon down.
There's Lindy inflating that I was talking about.
Let me know.
Bill Walker, we were looking at the top of the smiley
The
face.
smiley face.
So I'm a spotter.
Good morning up there, guys. There's definitely a quick layer up there.
Yeah, I'm feeling more and more breeze actually in our face here this morning. It's gotten considerably colder than what it was when we first showed up and went on the air at 6 o'clock. It really was not that uncomfortable, but it's getting
definitely shivering a little bit.
Yeah,
now. Yep.
it's now the cold is noticeable. Earlier it really was not bad, but it suddenly is becoming quite noticeable.
So all the white tents that we're seeing at the bottom of the picture there, that's Corporate Village. You can bring your company here with your customers or your staff. The permanent building with the kind of red top and then the white, we're underneath, just in front of the white.
Of that white block there, that white top that you see, white roof.
And there's the balloon from the ground camera. It's the white around the center with the red at the top and the bottom and the black and gray stripes.
That is our XTO camera balloon this morning.
Thinking about this wind that we just talked about, how this is picked up here, what that tells me is that things are mixing down quickly.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens here, but still going to be this direction. Probably fairly short flights. There's not a lot of great landing sites south of us, but there are a number of them, and the nice part about that is that they all kind of line up with the direction they're moving here.
Well, and if it stays, it's not too bad on the field now, but if that mixes down to mixes, where's the milky? If it mixes down to the surface, it may make the competition a little bit quick, and it might mean that the balloons won't be landing here at the south end of the field and blocking my view so much. So for me, it might be a good thing. The pilots probably will not be quite as appreciative of it. There's
Ruth has found some folks from Los Lunas, which is just south of Albuquerque. What's up, Ruth?
Yes, I'm with the Morales family from Los Lunas, and they had to get up at what time this morning to come to the field?
At 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's wonderful. How many years have you been coming to Balloon Fiesta?
I'm going to say like about 5 years.
About 5 years. And we have the whole family here, including one daughter-in-law. And we have a very, very special guest today with the Morales family, and that is Carla, who's right here in front of me. And Carla is very special today because it's her birthday, and she's 7. So everybody say happy birthday to Carla.
Happy birthday, Carla.
Back up to you guys.
Hey, you know, we have another birthday here as well.
We do.
One of our volunteers at Sponsor Hospitality. She's usually at the gate as you come in the front gate there and taking care of things. Kathy Fennell, today is her birthday as well. And these numbers don't make sense because Kathy's been volunteering here for more than 40 years. And she doesn't even look 40 years old.
Not 40 years old. She can't.
No, but she's been volunteering here for more than 40. So a great shout out to our friend Kathy Fennell. Happy birthday to Kathy as well.
And so we're seeing some of the special shapes now. Today is, of course, a day for the special shapes. It's day 2, actually, of our special shapes rodeos and glowdeos. Yesterday, we saw a number of them stand up. This morning, we will see how many may fly. But just looking over to the east side of the field, which is where the special shapes are gathered, there is the Smurf on line. Great shot of it, the little blue Smurf in his white cap. Closer to us, I'm looking at the emoji balloon with Lee Hooper on board as pilot. There is Lindy.
And there's a shot back on the field where you can see those same balloons from our balloon cam.
You can see the emoji almost center screen, just slightly center right of the screen. There's the emoji balloon with Lee Hooper from Lindstrand, UK.
Looking across, there's the pink of Hamlet. and the white of Humpty Dumpty, and then Lindy's next to that as well.
You can see the white cap and the big eyes of the Smurf looking right up at us there from that shot. Also over there is, I see Wags is inflated now down near the stage. He's that kind of teal colored balloon on the far right of that shot.
Actually,
There's
there he
Wags.
is.
Now he's on the left side. Yep, quick puppy.
Yeah.
That is Dean Carlton's new balloon. There's Smurf again. There's the emoji. You can see it. There's the U.S. Bank balloon. That's Scott McClinton. We see the Wells Fargo balloons beginning to inflate their round balloons.
I see the yellow at the bottom with the black and then red. That's
Yep.
going to be Annie the Ladybug.
Right. There's Canon, of course, our presenting sponsor, Johnny Petrin there. And I see there is the Cheetah, cold inflated, one of the many shapes brought to us from Longleat and Sky Safari by Andrew Hawley.
Peter Procopio came by to say hi a few minutes ago to tell us he was going to just do a static display. He flies Koshari. That's the one I mentioned, has the floppy thing.
The multicolored floppy thingy on it. Yeah.
Actually, his is black and white, but yeah.
Well, I think you said multicolored yesterday. That's the only reason I was bragging you about it.
I said multicolor about something else.
Oh, well, okay. But you did have a floppy thingy.
We did have a floppy thing. I was talking about the floppy thing. Multicolor was something else.
Okay.
That's a great shot from our balloon cam, looking
black
down
and
on.
white is technically two colors, so you could say that's multicolored.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a great shot from our balloon cam, XTO balloon cam, looking down on the Rainbow Riders, going over the ball fields just south of the park, and right along the drainage ditch, the arroyo.
The arroyo, yep. There's some more of the Rainbow Riders, those broadcast balloons that are all in a group right there together. Those are not local radio station balloons. They are contract balloons brought in to fly with Rainbow Riders, sponsored by broadcast stations from other parts of the country.
And you mentioned Wags a few moments ago. Wags is now Dean Carlton in the air.
And there's a shot of the two Colorado state flags.
They're also providing rides as part of the Rainbow Riders fleet this week. Hey, the ex-con is here.
Yep, that would mean probably that the...
right behind it is where you're headed?
Yeah,
the Keystone Cop right behind
it.
So the con up so that he can make the getaway. There's a great shot.
A shot of Wags.
The back shot. See that kind of in the center there, how part of that fabric is a little darker and it's got kind of a little scalloping on the right-hand side. So that's a turning vent in that balloon.
It is.
The idea is being able to open that up, let the air out the side of the balloon, and that's what makes the balloon spin. We saw Sean Oskren do that with the Intel balloon as he went out. Many of the balloons, especially those that have designs on them, put those turning vents in them so that they can spin the balloon around. So no matter what angle you're watching from, you'll see the logo on whatever side, or in the case of Wags, as he spins it, we'll see the face, and then again back to the paws.
There goes Lindy, and that is Scott Woogie, I think, is doing the piloting duties on Lindy, the special shape from Lindstrand Balloons.
Great shot of Canon C Impossible balloon, Johnny Petrin. Talked to our good friend Brian from Canon, who always provides us with the fabulous binoculars we use.
Yep.
Talked to him this morning, and I said, "You haven't been by to see us," and he said it's been very busy in their booth over there.
Well, good for them.
But
that's what we want to
as
see.
always, he said he enjoys our commentary. So always appreciate having Canon out here.
Absolutely. That was Scott Woogie and Lindy on our screen just a moment ago. Now we're looking at, what's this guy's name? This
Anton.
Is Anton, our gas station attendant, which led us into a whole discussion the other day about the two states that don't allow self-pump gas.
Pop quiz, do you remember the two states?
I remember Oregon was the one we didn't know because 1,000 people commented on Facebook and told us. And was it North Carolina?
Nope, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Well, you got a 50% on that.
Well, okay.
Here comes emoji right over the top of us. We don't have it on the
taking
screen.
The emoji, taking his smiley face right
So.
up over the top. Good morning,
Good morning.
Lee.
They're yelling down at us.
Yeah, he's busy flying too because it's quick up there.
It is.
Above us.
And
I hope that wind stays up there because if that wind comes down, it's going to be really cold here on the tower.
Yeah. Well, typically those winds come down. Hopefully, when it comes down fast and goes away fast.
Yeah, well, and sometimes they mix with the slower winds down on the ground, and so they actually
do slow down.
They do slow down a bit because of the mixing. Some of the speed goes away.
Yeah. There, I mentioned U.S. Bank before.
Yeah, I see. There's Smurf, and there's the
There's a-
ladybug you had talked about earlier.
I see KOB down in the mix there, the red, black, and white.
Looking at the
That'd be a
looking on the
tricolor,
screen,
wouldn't it?
That would be a tricolor, yeah, red, white, and blue. I like the one, that racer that's standing there, that's really royal blue with the white barber
Zigzags,
folding
yeah.
around the red vertical stripes there. That's kind of cool. And that one behind it has been one of my favorites this year, that sky blue racer with the royal blue accents and the yellow diamonds sort of shapes in the center. I like that. That's kind of nice.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, there's a gust of wind. You can probably even hear that in our microphones.
Yeah, you could. Oh, great. So a few moments ago, you saw our XTO balloon as time flies take off, and you heard all the woo, ah, and all that great stuff going on. Well, Samantha Guthrie is the Public Affairs Director for XTO. She is in the balloon now. Samantha, what do you think?
Hi there. Hey, it's Sue Ann. Just a quick correction there, but this is amazing. This is my first balloon ride. It's XTO Energy's first appearance at the Balloon Fiesta as a sponsor, and we are so excited to be here. This is an amazing event that gets worldwide recognition, and we are super pleased to be here, to be a sponsor and be part of this world-renowned event.
I apologize for the name. It got passed along incorrectly to me. So how's it like being in the balloon?
This is amazing. You know, it's the most perfect weather today. We've been blessed by great weather all week here, with the exception of yesterday, a little bit of wind, but it's peaceful, it's beautiful. We've got a great sunrise, all the balloons by us. It's just amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
You know, this is Glen Moyer. I'm just a little envious of your XTO headband there. It looks like your ears are nice and warm.
You like that?
I like that.
Yes, it's a cold day this morning. Yes, it's what is it, about 32 this morning?
Yeah,
it's
close
a little
enough.
bit colder here than Houston.
Yep, so next year you'll have to get us some of those warm headbands as well.
We will. We'll make sure we bring some next year.
Hey, great. We certainly appreciate XTO being a sponsor of Balloon Fiesta Live
Absolutely.
and other pieces of the Balloon Fiesta here. Enjoy your flight. We'll talk to you afterwards.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Too. Bye-bye. Yep. That's great. They are a new sponsor here at Balloon Fiesta.
They are.
And they have
It's the
stepped
first
in
time.
big time.
Yeah, and
And-
it's brilliant to have them sponsoring Balloon Fiesta Live, and I didn't realize they were from Texas, and so being a native Texan myself, gives me a little Texas pride this morning.
Their company is based in lots of places.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
They
she
just
mentioned she's from
recently
Houston.
came in and picked up a lot of property down in the southeastern part of New Mexico.
Yeah.
And are managing a lot of the.
Well, ExxonMobil is worldwide, so.
And XTO is one of the ones that's managing around here and some of
Right.
the Southwest. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just mentioned Texas because she said obviously she
Because
was from
she said Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a number of them out here. We appreciate that. There's Humpty Dumpty, and before that, Annie the Ladybug. There's a shot. We continue to watch that Rainbow Riders balloon. That's just one of a number of them. So continuing to drift south. I've seen that view before, flying off this field.
Yeah.
And that's one of the spots that you could land. You kind of just see between the Rainbow Rider balloons. You see the open space. And then, of course, you get a whole lot more houses again. So you have to kind of pick and choose those landing sites.
Yeah, I can remember the years that I flew here. That area was a little more open than what it is there right now.
Yep. A lot of things
What was
have
the area?
filled in.
You remember the area that was just? Of course, we've changed fields. We used to be up where General Mills is, and the area just there was the sand pit that was just beyond
The
that.
gravel pit.
Gravel pit, and then there was an area that was going to be a residential area, and for years it was just open fields with nice curved streets cut through it. I can't think of the name of it, but it was a favorite landing site if you took off and went just straight south from here.
There are a lot of homes in there now, although we were able to preserve one piece of land in there that was going to become a commercial development, and the city and the neighborhoods and the balloonists and all got involved. And so Vista del Norte is the landing site that we, in fact, that's Vista del Norte right there that isn't that Jerry Graft in Lofty?
Yes.
Yeah, right there, the yellow balloon that just hit.
Yeah.
That is Vista del Norte that we were just talking about. And that was going to be a commercial development. The city got together and created this. It's now a partially park. The dirt area on the other side is part of this. Half of it is now grass. That's the spot many of them will be landing in. In fact, I already saw 3 in there. So that's going to be the spot. Now, that said, with the wind speeds that we have today, and the direction, it would certainly be easy to continue on flying south if you miss that field, and all the other fields south of here are going to be pretty narrow and tough to get into.
Right.
So this would be a day that you might fly over the airport and land in the wide open spaces south of the airport.
About to say head out to the airport and land out in that region. Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Get out beyond Sunport and land there.
So
you can see a couple of balloons on the horizon there.
Yeah, the industrial area that we're flying in over here is the old gravel pit.
Right.
That you were talking about.
Used to be a popular landing zone.
Yep. That's kind of gotten pretty...
look at Anton there. He's going to say hello to some folks. Pardon me while I just sit on your head.
Need some help here? Cavender's, one of our balloon sponsors. Flying out of here as well. Still quick. Nice to see that folks were making it into Vista del Norte down there.
Yeah.
There's actually now just as a matter of talking about that, there is now a landowner landing space task force that the city has put together that folks are working on land that might still be open and accessible and preserving those landing spaces.
Landing sites, yeah.
Or if it is going to be developed, to develop it in a balloon-friendly way so that you don't put your building in the middle of this big open space. You put it on the edge, you put your light poles around the edge, or you keep them low so that we preserve some of the landing areas in the city of Albuquerque. We still have great open spaces out to the west, but even those are starting to fill up, and we don't always get to fly that direction.
I was going to say, that's why on those mornings when we head out to the west-northwest, out over the Rio Grande and into Rio Rancho Corrales, why the pilots like that so much, because they can get out there and there is a lot of open landing zone. On mornings like this morning, flying south from here, there's not a lot of open space. It is a morning when you probably will make a long flight, like you were saying, Ken, and get out beyond the Sunport where things do begin to open up, but it is a long flight. Which isn't so difficult on a morning like this morning, while there is some fairly decent speed up there. And of course, if there is speed on the ground, you need bigger, more open areas to land in, because the balloon takes more time. You were discussing it last night, I heard, as you were discussing how the gas balloon deflated when Sherry White and Mark Sullivan landed. With the hot air balloon, when you come down and land in high wind, you open the vent and dump some of the heat out, but that bubble of heat stays at the top of the balloon, and the balloon then is collapsed by the wind and essentially becomes like a giant spinnaker sail. And you know how spinnakers help increase the speed of a sailboat, pulling it through the water with a spinnaker. When your envelope becomes a spinnaker, before it fully deflates, it can drag the basket quite some distance. Those can be some exciting rides doing high wind landings. And so you need longer, wider spaces to land in. You can't just come down and set it down like in a cul-de-sac like you can on a nice calm day.
That's exactly right.
So today's going to be one of those days where it looks like you're going to be wanting to look for some larger open spaces.
I haven't seen any comments about flying over the airport, but you know, we work very closely with the Albuquerque International Airport, the control tower down there, and the air traffic controllers. We actually have given our pilots a kind of a game plan if they get down that way. If they are actually going to go over the airport and they are on the east side of I-25, which would be directly over the airport, they need to be at 8,000 feet, which is about 3,000 feet above the ground. 8,000 feet, so that they are truly flying over the airport. However, if they are a little bit to the west of I-25, which puts them kind of in the approach, then they need to be below 6,000 feet, or about 1,000 feet, So you fly under the planes if you're west of I-25 and over the entire airport if you're the other way.
Yeah.
So Truly is coming into the Truly New Mexico balloon here that we see. This is coming into the Renaissance area, which is another place.
That's the area
is that the
I
one
was
you were
trying to
thinking
remember.
of?
Yeah, Renaissance.
Yeah, that has built up nicely. The Home Depot there, and there's a Costco and a Sportsman Warehouse and all kinds of other businesses in there. But Renaissance was a very nice place to land.
Yeah, that's the exact spot I was remembering.
And there is a little bit of space to drop in there, but not much anymore.
Yeah, that used to be a great wide open green area, green fields of grass, by that is what I mean. And the streets are all in there.
Well, there you
and
can see it.
There you can see it, yeah. But all that area used to be just big wide open green fields. It was a great landing zone on days when you had to fly southward here. And there is still some open space. I can see that there in front of Home Depot.
There is still a little bit, but you see there's buildings just to the south
yep,
here.
Yep.
And if we were to go just left of that, that's where Costco is. And but you see all those trees lining the road there?
Yeah.
I remember landing those when those were just young little saplings.
Yeah, I do too. Because it's
Looks
been
like
since the, oh gosh, how long ago was it when I last flew here? Probably in the, well, it was in the early 90s because I started announcing here in 1990 and I was still doing some flying. In those days I announced on the weekends and my partner Tom Rutherford did the weekdays. We didn't work together. We were two individuals at that point. And so I used to fly the Monday through Friday competition. And so, yeah, that would have been back in the early 90s when Renaissance was still just open space. Bass Pro Shops getting airborne. This is a brand new balloon for Bass Pro Shops, and had the chance this week to meet with a couple of their marketing and events personnel and relate to them how much we enjoy their these wonderful seats that we have, chairs that we got from Cabela's. And no, I'm not mentioning a competitor. Bass Pro Shops also owns Cabela's, as you can see around the base of the balloon there. It says BassPro.com, and it also has the Cabela's logo on it. And,
he went by so fast, I think we missed.
I don't think we got a shot of it, but I saw it as he went by.
You did. Hey, there's our lion balloon.
It's one of two. That's not. We have Simba, who's the lion here from Wally. That is not Simba. That is the different. That's the black maned lion with the crown on top indicating he's king of the jungle.
There they are. Ruth Lind is caught up with Matt Guthrie, who's on the board of directors. In fact, he's the vice president of the board of directors. Ruth?
Yes, and Matt is actually going to be the president when Balloon Fiesta has its 50th anniversary. Matt, what can you tell us about special things happening for that event?
Well, we've got a lot of things in the planning stages. I really can't allude to much. At this point, things are still being worked on, thought out, planned out, but it's going to be a big time.
It will be special and different in new and exciting ways, right?
Absolutely.
Terrific. Well, I wanted to talk to Matt this morning because Matt had a really exciting experience the other night with our fast track team. Matt, tell us what you did.
They invited me to fly along with them in the jump plane. And it was really quite an honor. These guys are just dedicated jumpers, former military members, just an excellent group of guys, and to be invited to go with them was really special. We flew over the field and circled. I've never seen the balloon glow from the air. That was something new for me. And then once we climbed up and out they went with their lighted suits on, it got really dark in the airplane. And then the plane kind of lays itself over and catches up with the skydivers, and we followed them all the way down. And
were they pretty much ready to go before they got on the plane, or were there preparations happening in there?
They were pretty much ready to go when they got on the plane. The things that happen on the plane is they do the final arming of the fireworks, and that are on their legs. And once that's on and they turn their suits on, they're just waiting for the green light in the plane to go.
We've all been watching those foot fireworks, we call them. Is there a lot of equipment strapped to their legs before they jump?
There's about 35 pounds per leg worth of fireworks. Each jumper has each leg loaded from about the knee down.
And how do they arm those? How do they fire them?
They're electronic, and they have a remote control on their arm, and that's how they fire them.
That's really cool. Matt, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I hope you get back inside where it's warm, and we'll send it back up to Glen and Art.
My pleasure, thank you.
We're rocking lots of hats down there. We've been loving Ruth's hat, and I noticed Matt had a selection.com. Selection.com was the sponsor of our helmet cam for Fast Tracks.
That's right.
That bring us those fabulous pictures from inside the plane, and as they jump, one of the jumpers has a live helmet cam on, and we're able to see the same types of things Matt experienced from the plane up there as well. So they are scheduled to jump again tonight, 5 o'clock. They'll bring their big flag into the field, and then they will jump again about 7:30 tonight with the pyrotechnics that we just talked about. Hey, there's Buddy Beaver.
Buddy Beaver, yep. And for those that don't know the whole story, Buddy began life as actually as Mr. Potato Head.
Yep.
And there were some issues with Hasbro, and so there was a extreme makeover done to Buddy to give him his big cheeks and those buck teeth. And what's fun though is if you watch during our Glowdeo tonight, you can actually see through his cheek fabric and the teeth that were put to where you can see the entire face of Mr. Potato Head underneath, even though he's no longer Mr. Potato Head, but Buddy Beaver.
But he is airborne now as well.
And he is airborne, yeah.
So
I'm honestly a little surprised we're seeing as many shapes as we are this morning, because with the wind, they don't do that well in the wind. Most of the shapes don't. So I was concerned about how many of them we might get to see. And certainly we're not seeing all of the 104 that we have registered because of that. But there are a number of them that are coming to shape. I see the zebra, or zebra, depending on what part of the world you're from, balloon is beginning to inflate now.
And I keep looking for the sun, because I keep
so do I,
for it.
because it's
starting to make itself across. It's almost to the river.
Yeah, we can see it almost to the river. But even once it comes up above the Sandias, it's a while before it gets to us, because we have an elevated roof just beside us, and we're on the west side of that. And so even once the sun comes up and warms up those folks that are out on Balloon Fiesta Field, it doesn't get to us.
It doesn't.
There's part of the Longleat group. That's the backside of the Cheetah balloon with the Longleat Sky Safari on it. There is the Panther.
And I just heard a huge cheer, and I'm looking at
That's because Smurf just took off.
There's your zebra.
Yep.
Mr. Z.
Mr. Z is the name of that. Kind of in honor of our launch directors who are here dressed in their zebra outfits. And that's a throwback to Sid Cutter, who in organizing the very early years of Balloon Fiesta here wanted to find a way to identify our launch directors, and so they thought, well, let's just put them in black and white striped referee suits, and they have ever since become known lovingly as zebras. And if you're a zebra in training, you are a zit.
A zit. The other day we had a great shot of 3 zebras walking down the field. One was in kind of the standard zebra gear.
Yeah.
There was another one who had totally embellished their zebra gear.
Yeah.
And then there was the one with the red hat indicating a zit.
Ah, okay.
So we had all 3 of them. No, there's sun. Let's look. Actually, Buddy Beaver is actually in the sun.
Yeah, it's there. It's just not up high enough just yet. But
he's already over, almost behind us already.
He's got his sunglasses on.
Yeah,
so,
looks like it.
Or maybe that's just
I
bulging
think it's just
eyes.
the eyes, but
yeah, I thought those were sunglasses for a moment.
So they have changed the competition time this morning. Originally they were going to start the targets at 8 o'clock. They are now going to open the targets at 8:30 and keep them open until 9:30.
That means that we just get to stay on the field and out in the cold an extra half hour longer. Thank you to the Red Jackets. Henry, we need to have a chat, my friend.
Well,
yeah. Well, I think that's an indication of it's taking longer to clear the field this morning with the wind as it is.
And maybe a little bit of waiting out to see what really happens. The sun just seems to be much slower coming out.
Is that the back side of the Panther that we're looking at there? I
believe it is. And the front side of the Ex-Con. And then the blue one is Pico.
Yeah.
And the green, that's going to be the green Shamrock that we see right below, right in front of Pico.
I talked about that yesterday. It used to be Don
One.
Edwards' balloon, a Lucky One. It's now flown by, I forget the pilot's name, but someone else.
Daryl Tatum.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
He was in Plano. That's how I remember that.
Oh, okay. While we're looking at the back of the Panther there, quick shout out. I had the distinct surprise pleasure yesterday of discovering Catopia, which is a cat cafe here in Albuquerque. And of course, those of you that have been listening and those that know me well know that I have 2 lovely kittens at home. 1-year-old kitties now, Bonnie and Ranger, and I've been on the road for, almost constantly now for almost 8 weeks. I've only been home for about 5 or 6 days in that 8-week period. So missing my kitties. And so I found this cat cafe yesterday, went by there for lunch at Catopia, and met a lovely little kitten named Charity, but they have like 19 to 20 cats there. You can go and have a cup of coffee and some cookies and muffins and some other snacks and relax and hang out with the cats, and just had a great time there yesterday. So a quick shout out to Catopia, and they also of course are a bit of a shelter for cats, and they just opened in January, and they've already had 69 homed, had 69 successful cat adoptions. So well done them, and had a great time there yesterday.
We just saw a great shot of the sun coming over the Sandias, and it's actually shining
it just
through
came right through the glass of our building, yeah.
And speaking of great camera shots here, Ruth Lind has got an interview for us, I think with one of our camera guys. Did I get that right?
I do, and he fought me, and he was mad at me, and I might pay for it the rest of the week. But I really wanted to get on the air with Tom Carey. He and I and RJ and William and Pedro and Maria and Mark have been working together all week to bring you these Balloon Fiesta live shots. Tom is one of the best camera people I've ever seen. And Tom, tell me how you prepare for doing an event like Balloon Fiesta.
I really don't. I just think of the show, and I always forget how beautiful it is. And as you know, I get carried away with the camera sometimes. So yeah, you just get into it and just keep it steady.
What kind of background and education did you have to learn how to do this work?
I have a bachelor's from Eastern New Mexico University, Guild Greyhounds, and it's photojournalism. And then I've been freelance about 25 years, and I shot news out of college, and that prepares you for a lot of situations. So.
Well, you have clearly become a master of your craft.
You're too kind.
Well, one of the other reasons that I really, really enjoy working with Tom is that Tom is originally from New Hampshire, and of course I'm from Maine, so everywhere we go, we just have to say, go Pat.
Go Pats, that's right. Ooh.
Back up to you guys.
See, now it comes out. So. There's the Farmer's Balloons speeding across the sky. Ryan Baca flying that for us. And a couple of your balloons.
Yeah, that's the cheetah and the panther kind of looking up there going, gee, do we want to fly or not?
Yeah. The Keystone Cop has stood up now to keep an eye on the
chicken.
I see the saxophone kind of underneath Pico.
Saxon, yeah, kind of cold inflating there.
Had a call yesterday from an international news agency looking for footage of Saxon.
Oh. You know, it's cold enough for the penguins this morning, but I haven't seen the penguins yet. You would think they would be out, hopping around in this kind of cold weather.
Someone was asking about Sonny Boy, Wayne Fortney, and we haven't seen Sonny Boy yet this morning. Maybe that's why it's so cold.
Could be. We
did
see
get the penguins up and the sun out. Maybe this would.
Maybe things will warm up. We did see Sonny Boy yesterday. I recall seeing him on the TV.
Yeah, he was. Yoda, Darth Vader, the black.
Cold it is.
It looks like the big hug in the back there. You can just see the top of
the
one
two
of the
bears. Yeah, I think you're right. The blue and yellow bear there, right by that white pylon.
And that orange with the little black is Saxon that we were just talking about. There's your panther.
I think they've decided they're not going to fly. G-Paw has said, time for a cat nap.
Oh, Peg Lake Pete is inflating on the southeast corner of the field, right over here by
Keystone
Mr. Z.
Yeah, Keystone Cop has gotten airborne. He's just flying now. There he goes across our screen.
Going to get a head start on XCOM, I guess.
Maybe so.
So a nice morning, not the perfect morning for flying, but definitely a nice morning. There's Buzzy B on the right side. I think that's what the name of that bee is, isn't it?
You've got me, and my hands are too cold to reach out and hit my iPad.
Yeah, Buzzy B.
Okay.
Jenna Science from Ashland.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and right in front of that, then, that white balloon you see there. Right, you don't see it now, but from our vantage point, we can see it from here on the rooftop. That is Coco the Clown, which is Gary Signs. Yeah,
Well,
his husband. There he is.
There you go. We switched angles on
We
you.
switched angles, and you can see
You
him in
actually
the
see the
shadow
face
there.
versus
And you can
just
see
the-
he's cold in the shadow because it's the frowny side. The
And
sunny
there's-
side is probably smiling, great big smile, but in the cold,
Yeah.
he's frowning.
And there's Peg Leg Pete.
So yeah, back to someone, as I said early on in the week, asked the question, were there any clown balloons here? And we said there were, and I think I mentioned Coco at the time, and Coco is a two-faced clown, white-faced makeup with a smiley side on one side and a frowny side on the other. And as it happens, the frowny side is in the cold and the smiley side is in the sun where it's a little bit warmer.
Someone's asking how fast is the wind. It depends on whether you're right on the ground or a couple hundred feet up.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, my guess would be approaching 10.
I would think, I was going to say 5 to 7 here on the surface.
A little higher, yeah, maybe
a little higher, maybe just a couple hundred feet up.
Another great shot from our XTO as time flies balloon. Checking out Rainbow Riders as they fly over the city of Albuquerque. All headed south today. There goes the Keystone. The Con. We saw the Keystone Cop go out a few moments ago, so this is kind of in reverse. The cop chasing.
The cop chasing. The Con chasing the cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost fell for that reverse too.
Yeah. I see Albuquerque has inflated down the north end of the field.
Yeah, the Wise Owl, that when they were making some t-shirts last year, they decided they may want to change that to Albuquerque. Great shot. You see the freeway. I'm trying to see if that's actually the Big I, the intersection of I-25 and I-40. Looks like it. I see that, yeah. That's our big interchange here. Of course, there are lots of places that have much bigger interchanges and a lot more stacks and fancy names.
Yeah.
We just call that the Big I.
What's the, what is that jet engine roar in our headsets? Are you hearing that? I thought it was a burner at first, but I've got just a constant, almost static now.
Probably one of our camera, our mobile camera mics.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, it might be
what
one
I
of the
think it
mics on the field is stuck open. Yep,
So, there we go.
Yep. Good call. That's why you're the executive producer. Hey, there is who is the koala with the sunglasses? What's his name?
That is Enchanted Koala.
Okay, well, Enchanted Koala is up and looking at us down there on the north end. I see now.
And we were just watching them inflate another balloon down there. Couldn't tell exactly
Albuquerque.
who it was. But you saw the tie-off line. We saw the tie-off line from that balloon. I think they're waving at me to head down to competition. But
okay.
we can. Oh, maybe. Oh, they're waving for a PA here. So. Yep. Well, competition again starts at 8:30 now this morning. It was scheduled to start at 8. They've delayed it until 8:30. And so we'll stay up here for just a little bit longer.
What time of day is it getting to be?
7:41.
Okay, I haven't been looking at mine.
Anton's taking a nap. We saw him rock and roll and kind of lay and come down on folks there.
Oops.
Yeah, off the left side of the screen is that Enchanted Koala.
I knew I shouldn't have taken my hand out of my glove to try to watch the feed, because now I tapped my phone and it just went black.
Yeah, there you go. Put it to sleep.
Oh, come on, phone.
I see Busby there, the top, the black top still getting
There we
cold
go.
area. Oh, there's your shot of Coco with the lion overhead. You just see the crown of the lion and
Buzzy Bee.
Buzzy Bee right there. And in the back left,
There's the
your
cheetah. Yeah.
Hey, there's a penguin. There's a penguin. A penguin. There's a penguin getting cold inflated.
Okay.
Look in the corner right there behind the Balloon Fiesta Live.
Oh,
logo.
yeah. I just saw it there.
Yeah.
Albuquerque going airborne. It reminds me, there's a great little YouTube video out about Benedict Cumberbatch, the well-known British actor who best known perhaps for his portrayal of Sherlock Holmes now. And he did a wildlife video and could not say the word penguin, and he called them penguins or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was on one of the talk shows, the Graham Norton talk show over there, and they took him to task about how he could not say the word. And it's amazing that the production team went ahead with this wildlife documentary that he did with him mispronouncing the word
all the way through.
Penguin all the way through.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure if you'd been executive producer, you would have stopped and corrected that. But it actually becomes quite hilarious if you watch it, because he's just repeatedly says pingolins or something. He literally cannot say the word penguin.
When you're producing, you can do that stop. When you're doing live shows like we are, it's out there for the world to repeat over and over again.
When you announce
a shot of all those balloons together out there.
When you announce Ashley Moore as being female and he's
they
not,
ain't pulling it back.
There's no getting it back, especially when your listeners or your viewers are making a point of sharing it with the world, so that anyone who didn't hear it now is aware of it.
Somebody's asking what Anton represents. He's a gas station attendant in Germany. And there's the backside of Princess Nellie, the third in that series of balloons.
Yeah.
First one was just Nellie. It was white. The gray one, which was the second one, was Nellie B. And now we have Princess Nellie, the pink one. If you can't quite see it, but if we saw the front side, we'd see it has a silver tiara. Yeah. And 28 degrees up in Placitas. Thanks, Cindy.
I didn't need to know that.
The wind chill factor here on the stage is definitely that or below.
Yeah.
So, hey, Victoria just woke up. They're flying over her house.
Where have you been, Victoria?
Yeah,
We've been here for hours already.
For a while. Good morning.
Yeah. Hey, is that Chickaboom that I see down at the north end? I believe it is.
It is. I can see it down there. We don't have it in the shot yet, but it...
one of the, if not, I think the original special shape here in the States, although there's argument whether which came first, Chickaboom or the chicken. There was Mike Adams built a chicken for KFC, which was back then Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then Chickaboom was the first one that Jacques Sokop and Kirk Thomas built. And the famous story about that is that Tucker Comstock, who along with her husband Bruce at the time owned Cameron Balloons here in the U.S., they went over to the U.K.
There it is.
To Cameron Balloons, and as they were designing this balloon, and in order to get the perspective correct, Tucker famously went through a couple of farmers markets over there in England with a bandana on her head and putting big pieces of fruit up on her head, and they were taking photographs so they could get the right perspective of the fruit to the and of course Chickaboom is a tribute to
Carmen Miranda.
Thank you. I just had a senior moment there. Carmen Miranda, the B-movie star, of course, who was famous for her Chicky Boom dances that she did.
And the whole idea came as a lot of ideas for some of these special shapes. A number of them were sitting around chatting and thought balloonists might be taking themselves a little too seriously.
We need a little humor in this sport.
Yeah, so they brought the whole idea of Carmen Miranda and Chicky Boom to life. Of course, that story goes on then. And then they decided that Carmen, Chicky Boom, was a little lonely, and so they built Uncle Sam.
Right.
And so they had the male and female.
And then not long after that, not a special shape, but Kirk and Jacques were studying over in the UK, and they built the one of my favorite balloons, which was the Welsh flag, the green and white balloon with a bright red dragon on the side, the official flag of the nation of Wales. And that was built while they were, and I think they built Uncle Sam while they were over there too, kind of as a tribute to the fact that they were Americans studying abroad at the time.
Sure. Then, of course, once you have a couple, they need a pet, so they did the Marine Bulldog.
The Marine Bulldog, Chesty.
And then, let's see, after that, they were having a Halloween party
and they built
did
Balloon Hilda, yeah.
And then in continuing that international flavor of building friendship among many countries, they built Mataruska, the Russian
nesting doll. Yeah.
I got a chance to fly that special shape in South Dakota in many years.
I never did that, but one year, back before you were my partner, when Tom Rutherford and I were doing this together, we had a vendor out here who sold the Mataruska dolls.
I remember.
And was kind enough to bring us a set up here onto the, what was then the super secret announce tower. I gave those to someone. I honestly don't remember who now. Maybe somebody, might have been my sister, someone in my family, but that was the sort of a capsule story of the Sokop Thomas balloon fleet, which is now operated by the Corn Palace up in South Dakota, where they used to have, where they started a balloon museum of their own. Now most of the holdings of that museum are in the Anderson Abruzzo Albuquerque International Balloon Museum, just behind us here.
Yep. Dina wants a Chicky Boom demo from the announcers.
Not going to happen.
Well, actually, if you saw us, we're kind of doing it, rocking and rolling.
It's more shivering.
Temperature.
Although, hey, Gary, down in the truck, that would be an excellent opportunity if you have shot any video of art during our opens. You know, that's gonna. I'm going to throw you under the bus there, buddy. That's kind of art. Yeah, that's kind of Art doing his Chicky Boom to our open music. It is, yeah. It's I got to tell you, it's fun to be up here with Art and see that happening in the morning. Gets me started because he's almost up here. We could almost have, remember Soul Train when they used to form the line and the teams danced down through the line? I think you're getting a little bit of that vibe going up here in the mornings when we roll our open music.
Hey, so a few things are happening here. We just saw a shot from our balloon cam, our XTO balloon cam down there. They're now down by the stadium area, if you're familiar with Albuquerque, where the university stadium is, where the AAA baseball stadium
I've landed up there before.
So they're getting close to the airport. And right along I-25 are those folks landing. Yeah, there they are.
In fact, I crossed over I-40 one time and landed in the parking area there. Some years ago. Chicky Boom has gotten airborne, by the way, as has the enchanted koala who's crossing over the top of us, and the raccoon. I'm having throwbacks to a couple of years ago. I live out in the country there in just outside of Shreveport, Louisiana now, and had a pet door so that Bailey, my cat of the time, could come and go at her leisure, and unfortunately a local raccoon discovered the pet door and the cat food inside. And about 3 o'clock one morning, I woke up to see this masked villain stealing cat food out of Bailey's bowls. And we went through several days of Rocky Raccoon paying me a visit. And kind of like that TV commercial, the lady says, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty," and the raccoon goes walking in. Well, I was having that same experience, only I wasn't calling it in. It invited itself in.
There you go.
But anyway, our raccoon special shape has gone past us, in case you missed it.
So, of course, this is the Special Shapes Rodeo this morning, where we feature our special shapes standing up and or flying out of here. There is the opportunity for our regular shape balloons that are not competing to inflate on the field and launch out of here. And then competition this morning, which includes the ring pole, dropping your ring toss, dropping your ring over the pole. That is now scheduled to start at 8:30, and they just extended the window of competition till 10:30.
Oh, God.
And actually,
do they not know it's cold out here this morning?
Hello. They at least are in the sun. Notice we've got two competitors up high and way out there already. Yeah. Now the target doesn't open for another 40 minutes, so they're going to kind of have to hang.
They're going to have to hope there's a box.
Yeah, or find something that doesn't move fast up there.
Yeah.
So they might be airborne a little too soon. But remember, we heard this morning that the first person to ring the pole, in addition to the cash that's there, will win a new Digitools.
Digitools, which is an instrumentation pack for balloonists.
I was just going to go there. Kind of a new system. It's got not only your altitude, your change in altitude, your temperature at the top of the balloon, it's got ambient temperature, and it's got GPS tracking, all built in a unit that's about maybe 3.5 or 4 inches.
And it's actually
size.
Digitool is actually not quite that new, because I actually test flew the very first model of the Digitool. It's an instrument that's built over in Switzerland, and when I was still flying in the 90s, and I was editor of Ballooning Magazine. No, that would have been the 2000s, because I became editor in 2001. So the early 2000s, they actually contacted me and sent me one of their very first instruments. Now this one is a much newer and improved model. I've seen it, and it's vastly different from the original that I flew. But they've been around for a while now.
They've done a lot of building and testing and building and testing. And I think they're to the point now where it's definitely mainstream. I know a lot of folks are looking at that.
Yeah, a lot of and the manufacturers are now using it as well.
And so it's actually it's got more features built into a more compact area for lesser price than what some of the other instruments that are out there. The balloons we fly, we have two balloons that have the Digitools on them, and so we have 4 balloons and 3 different instrument packages, which makes it interesting as well.
You know, it is Special Shapes Day, and we have 104 shapes registered, and one of the new ones has just stood up right over in front of the main stage, and that is what you're looking at now, the unicorn. I don't have my information called up on it, but that is at least time for me to be able to mention that, of course, the unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. Not this one, fortunately.
Pink ones are?
No, pink ones are not. We're talking about the real white one. They're not real, but the white ones, the majestic, you know. This one's not so majestic as it is more comical, but it's pink with rainbow mane. This looks like the one in the Skittles commercials, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Todd
Monahan.
Yeah, but it's one of the
flying that for us.
It's brand new. It's
or
one
standing
of the
it up, I guess.
First time here, and it's having a little trouble standing
well, they've
up.
already pulled the top out. Actually, I can see
Yeah.
it up there. Just resealed, so he let go. But thinking they're kind of rethinking.
And just beyond it, I do see center stage, which is the balloon, the special stage-shaped stagecoach.
Beth Wright Smith flies that for us. Wells Fargo.
From Wells Fargo, yeah. Sorry. My brain's freezing over, so it's not working as well as it sometimes does, and it doesn't usually work even on the best of days. So Maury, I just hear Maury says 8:30 until 10. Didn't you just say they had extended to 10:30? Or did they extend to 10?
So the issue there is that while they have to get the field flagged off for the competition area, so they're trying to get that done. Yeah, so they're telling the guys that are going to launch off the field to be gone by 8:15 if they're going to go. If they're not going to go by 8:15,
then they
either
need to
have
move
to be
east or take down.
Exactly. And so that we can get the competition underway at 8:30.
Yeah.
There goes Anton.
Yeah. Anton is pumping some gas as he's
he is. I'm thinking
flight
he had
this
some
morning.
jet fuel or something there this morning. He's kind of shot up out of here.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to have too many regular shaped balloons take off from here this morning, but like I said earlier, this is the day when many of the pilots actually do want to fly the ring toss competition.
Yeah, there are some, as you say, there's quite a bit of prize money to be had out there this morning.
Well, and, with 3 tasks.
Yeah.
Fly in with the ring toss, win cash. First or last, you'll be the winner of a Digitools instrumentation pack for your balloon. Then we're going to be doing a maximum double drop, which means you have to drop 2 different markers. They have to be in 2 different scoring areas, and it's the person who has the maximum distance between those 2 markers is what going to be the greatest score. We do put an X up right between those so that you know what we're measuring from. And that X in itself, in today's competition, is becoming yet a 3rd task. So you'll come in, attempt to ring the pole, and then drop a marker on one of the maximum scoring distance triangles, drop on the X that is part of the target for the maximum distance, and then you'll be over the other triangle to be able to drop on that as well. So when they come in, if they're lined up, it'll be a quick succession of throw the ring, drop a baggie, drop a baggie, drop a baggie, trying to get them in those triangles as far apart as you can, and also the X in the center of it. So since we had no competition yesterday, we're combining a few things today, moving the prizes from yesterday to today, combining with today's prizes. So it's going to be a great day of competition. And you're only going to get 1 pass at it today. There is no box out there this morning. So you're going to have to find that spot out there that is going to let you fly in. And you better be able to line it up very nicely and quickly to be able to come in and get those. When we get closer to the competition starting, I'll be heading down into the competition field to be able to bring you shots and commentary from right down in the target area by the poles and those targets on the ground. We'll leave Glen up here on the tower so we can kind of just split our anchor desk, if you will, a little, and be able to give that coverage. So I do see there's Peg Leg Pete and Mr. Z on your screen. A little farther down the line, I do see Kathy's Hope, another one of our new shapes. Mostly a regular shaped balloon, but a 3D breast cancer pink ribbon on the side. And I think we're probably, the special shaped balloons that are standing up on the field now will probably continue to stay there. I do see, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, the stagecoach out there as well. That's an interesting balloon to stand up in this wind because it's such a big box, it's such a square. The wind doesn't really go around it, it just kind of blows into it and blows it over. And from our balloon, there we are right there. You can see it's even kind of leaning over a little bit as the wind blows into it. I think that's Mr. Fish, the red balloon that we see still being cold inflated this side of center stage. And Alphonse, that gray one on the right side of the screen, another one of our elephants. Hey, Lottie Dottie Chicken. Just as I said they're all going to stay on the ground, Lottie Dottie Chicken takes to the sky. One of Glen's, get a photo of it. The black sheep is out there as well. I see probably a half a dozen regular shaped balloons in the sky now, all thinking the target was going to open at 8 o'clock probably, because they were going to be one of the first ones in. The problem is now the target doesn't open till 8:30, so they're probably going to be here a little too soon. Yep, got to pay attention to the text messages that get sent out to all of the pilots as things change, and we adjust depending on not only wind conditions, but what's actually happening here on the field, as I mentioned a few moments ago. In fact, it looks like all of our regular shaped balloons, there might be one out. No, I think it's Pokey, the turtle. All of our regular shaped balloons, I think, that are going to launch from the field may have launched, maybe one more way out on the far north end, so we can get the field roped off, flagged off actually, and be able to start our competition. In fact, I think I already see the poles out there, the flagging poles. I don't see the others out there yet. They're probably laying down, but the tires are out there. Yeah, well, yeah, the yellow ones are out there, and I see the cart with the flags as well. So if you are out there in the center of the field, we need you to move to one of the sides, east, west, north, or south. We're going to rope off, flag off a big section of the field. We need you to start moving away out to the side. We do have a lot of trucks out there yet as well, as crews pack up from there. But if you'll make your way over underneath the special shapes or to the other far side, north or south, south end would be a great shot to be able to watch them come in, because they're going to come right at you if you're on the south end of the field. On the north end, you'll be able to watch them come over you and turn around and see what kind of score they get. And then, of course, if you're on the west or east side, you'll just watch them fly right by you and attempt to throw those markers and ring the poles with those rings. There's Splash and Tall Steve. Tall Steve cuddling with Mom there. Tell by the eyelashes on Splash and Tall Steve. And Stagecoach kind of photo bombing in the back there. Haven't seen that kind of shot before, where we've seen the penguins together in close, but with the little bit of wind buffeting them around, it's kind of like a lot more cuddling going on between Tall Steve and Puddles. There's Splash, and then there's Puddles on the other side.
Yeah, both sides. So that's the whole family.
There they are.
Mom, Dad, and the baby. And I've just discovered that it's a lot warmer on the other side of our backdrop.
Oh yeah, because it blocks
it's a
the
wind
wind.
block.
It's a wind block.
Exactly.
You can see how it's kind of.
I think we should just reverse the set here, and we'd be in good shape.
I decided I had to stand up here a little bit, see if I can get a little more movement, maybe a little more.
Yeah. You know, and people will say, well, the officials are out here too, but you know, they're on a tower where they are they're covered up to about chest high, And down below, I'm sure, there are heaters at work. We're up on an open, exposed roof, just sitting here in these, albeit nice, comfortable chairs. So we're exposed a little more to the weather than they are. Here comes our XTO energy balloon coming in for landing now. You know the city better than I. Where are they at there, Hart? Do you recognize any of those buildings? Past the airport?
Yeah.
In the South Valley.
Yeah. So just past Rio Bravo, which is one of the roads just to the south of the airport.
Okay.
And so that's what we talked about. If you don't make those spots in the city, you basically have to fly to the South Valley, to the south end down there. So that was a nice flight, a nice place to land down there.
Nice long flight,
looked
too.
Looked like a nice landing. Penny Settle doing the piloting honors for us today. Thank her for joining us. There's the Armadillo. We haven't seen that one up this morning yet. We've seen them all week. And off to the right, there's Saxon. I'm going to call that Global guys back because they were looking for a time lapse that had the Saxon balloon in it.
Oh, yeah?
And the time lapse we had earlier in the week didn't have him. I said, but we've got great shots of him all through the week. Go out and check our other shows. So
yeah, he's up just beyond the turtle down there and right around the penguins. And there's Hi Kitty.
Howdy, Cat.
As well. No, it's not Howdy Cat, it's Hi Kitty. Howdy Cat. But
I like that. I like that.
Another opportunity for me to mention that if you live here in Albuquerque or if you're a balloonist who is a cat person, that you can go by and hang out with some kitties at Catopia, which, quick plug, is located at 8001 Wyoming, right up near the, right at the intersection of Wyoming and Paseo del Norte. Spent lunch hour there yesterday and may go back there today.
You notice the other thing about those officials over there, they all got their hoods up too.
They do.
Yeah.
And
which
well,
I'm
I started
to do.
I started to put my hood up too. I guess and especially once you go down to the target zone, I might do that, but just because it gives you a little bit of extra warmth. I was lamenting yesterday that I'd forgotten my earmuffs when I packed for Balloon Fiesta this year. And then I remembered we're using these sports headsets as microphones now, and so they actually cover our ears. So my ears are doing okay, although when I stepped off set a moment ago and laid those down here on the table, came back,
cold.
It was like hanging icicles around my ears. I was like, ooh, that's cold.
Somebody asked what the temperature was, and my watch says it's 34, but by the time you bring the wind
bring in the wind chill, it's probably close to about 28, I would think.
Yeah, or even a little bit less than that.
Oh, I don't want to hear less than. Don't go there. And yeah, the difference is, as I say, we're up on a second floor rooftop where we're virtually completely exposed to the weather, while our officials do have some protection over there, but they're bundled up pretty good too.
And there's a lot more of them. They can hide behind each other.
Yeah, they can huddle up and hide behind each other. And, and up here it's just you and me, and I don't know if that's Jordan or Justine over there this morning. I can't quite see. They're just totally decked out in camouflage. I can't see you. Oh, that's Louis. It's neither one. Okay. Oh, yeah, he just turned around. That's not Jordan or Justine. I can see that now.
Oh, there's our balloon cab, you see. So now they have landed. There's the balloon, the air out of it. The crew will have to come together and pack all that up for them.
He's been, so Louis's been hanging out behind the camera over there all morning long.
He's bundled up pretty good.
He is bundled up pretty good.
Now our officials are noticing that the balloons are going to get here a little earlier. I mentioned while you stepped away for a moment that we were up to about 4 balloons up there, but now look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Some of them are further out though, so they've probably got enough time still to get here.
Well, we're still 23 minutes away from the opening of the target.
Isn't it 10 o'clock yet?
No, it's not. So there's Sam. Good morning, Sam.
Yep, good morning. With the
Sam Deeds, our ground specialist personnel with
Team Fast Tracks.
So
I haven't checked in on Facebook. 34 degrees, burr. I wish it were 34 degrees. Jane Greer is watching and says it's a balmy 76 here.
Oh, send Jane, some of that this way.
You are now dismissed, my friend. You may leave. David Field says, come on, Glenn, where is your sense of adventure? It's frozen right now, David. That's where it is. actually. No, it's not that, it really isn't that uncomfortable. It's just that we're sitting, we're not down on the field like the pilots and crew moving around. We literally are just sitting here in the cold, and with the wind blowing toward us. If the wind were from the south, we'd be protected by our backdrop here on the set, but it's not. It's blowing from the north toward us. So yeah, just go out and sit in the wind for a few hours in 34 degree or 32 degree weather, with the wind chill down to about 28, and you'll understand what we're talking about. If it's being able to get up, and I just stepped off set for just a few moments and stepped indoors where it's wonderfully warm, and just being able to get refreshed there for a moment and then come back is which is what Ken is doing now. Get in and get a break, kind of get the blood flowing again, and then come back out and go for another round. So it's not actually that bad. It's just that the wind, when we arrived early today, it really was quite comfortable up here, but there was no wind. And then just shortly before sunrise, those canyon drainage winds kicked in, and those north winds really have made it a bit colder than we would like. So yeah. But it's fun. I still wouldn't want to be anywhere else the first 2 weeks of October then. And it feels like Fiesta finally. Earlier this week it's been unseasonably warm, it seemed like, and it just didn't feel like Fiesta. Well, now it feels like Fiesta. This is good old Fiesta weather here in October in the land of enchantment in the high desert where it's cold. But so the shapes have all now pretty much either launched, or those that are inflated are now being moved and had already moved over to the eastern side, eastern third of the field, where they will continue to stay on static display as long as they like. Some of them have begun to deflate here at the south end. The zebra balloon, Mr. Z, and Peg Leg Peter coming down. On screen, there is that is one of the poles that are, even it's leaning in the wind. There will be 5 of these poles located around the target area, and the object for the pilots this morning, among others, is to come in and ring the pole. They have about an 18-inch round, to call it a miniature hula hoop, for those of you old enough to remember hula hoops. And the object simply is to fly their balloon by. Used to, you reached out and grabbed the keys to a new vehicle off the top of the pole, or in years past we had envelopes with cash in them. This year it is a ring, and you drop it over the pole, and pilots who do so will win some cash prize money. I think there's about $2,000 money to be won on each pole, and typically if more than one pilot ends up on a pole, they split that prize money. We also heard Henry Rosenbaum, our balloon meister, come up earlier today and tell us that in addition to that, on amongst the 5 poles, the first pilot and the last pilot to ring a pole today will win a brand new Digitool instrument pack for their balloon. So a little extra incentive for the pilots. Now, in addition to ringing the pole, we'll have an X on the field, and then there will be 2 triangular patterns, and I see the scoring team laying those out now over on the western side of the field. There will be triangles laid out in paper on the ground, and so the pilots will have one task, will be to throw their marker as close to the X as possible. That's just a basic fly-in task. And then we'll also have a maximum distance double drop. Now, what that means is each pilot has 2 markers, 2 additional markers. They'll have one for the ring, and they'll have 2 others for the max double drop. And the object is to put one marker in each of the 2 separate triangles as far apart as possible. So it's a maximum distance. So the distance is measured from one marker in the triangle to the marker in the other triangle, and you want to get them as far apart as possible. And typically on the fabric will count as being in. That's not always the case, but here it is. And so that'll be what the competition that'll be happening. What's happening, though, is, as Art was alluding to, there are a number of the competitors who've gotten airborne, and they are arriving at the park before the targets are ready. The scoring team is putting the targets out as I speak, but they're making their pass across the field, and there is no box this morning. So if you arrive too early, you simply are out of luck. You've mistimed it. And you can see now there are those long strips of fabric or paper. Sometimes it's like freezer paper that they use, and they're laying out what will be the max distance double drop areas. There'll be 2 triangular shapes, I think they were telling us earlier, Art. That'll be either side of the target X, and I guess there'll be 2 targets at 2 sets, so they'll have an option as to which one to go for.
Yeah, it's 2 sets.
I'm not hearing Art in the headset. Is his mic on?
Probably. There we go.
Okay,
so
he's back. Yeah.
So what they do is each double drop target is 2 triangles with the X's with the points pointing to an X.
Right.
And so,
but are there 2 of those on the field, or just
there
one?
There are 2 sets of those. So
right.
really 4 triangles with
2 X's.
With 2 X's and 5 poles.
Right.
Yeah. So,
but the object is to throw your mark. You pick whichever X you're going for, either A or B,
right.
And then you have a set of triangles on either side of that X, and you have to get one marker in one triangle, one in the other, as far apart as possible. That's the max distance double drop. And then you throw another marker, a third marker, as close to the X as you can, which is just the fly-in task. And then you have the pole.
They should be lined up so that you would get to a triangle, drop on the wide part of the triangle, then over the X, drop on the X, and then fly over the second triangle and drop on the wide part of that. Again, the points.
You're saying the points then will point in toward the X?
Yes, they will.
Because sometimes the points would be pointing away from the X, making it more difficult, because that's the maximum point. Would be the outer end of the triangle, and so sometimes they'll put the points outward, so that if you're going to go for the maximum, you have a more difficult task to drop at the point of the X.
Yeah.
Usually on a minimum distance, they'll
point them in.
They'll point them
so
in.
they might point it the other way on a maximum.
So maybe point it out today. You'll know when you get down there. You'll be able to see that and show it to us when you're down on the field.
We'll do that.
Yeah, because usually they do. They'll put on a minimum distance. They'll put because you have a harder time putting a marker right at the tip of a triangle than in the broad base, and so. On a minimum distance, they'll put the triangles pointing in toward the X so that you want to go tip to tip with as little distance in between. On a max, they'll usually turn them the other way around.
They probably will.
So you go tip to tip, but as far apart as possible. But you can tell us when you get down to the field for that. Now,
and speaking of that, I'm gonna go ahead and take off to get down there, and we'll be able to talk from down there as well.
There are going to be 5 poles. Now, I see this gentleman down here hanging around with a pole. That surely is not one of our target poles. What is? Oh, no, that's a crown line.
That's a crown line.
That's
a crown line.
It was half of it was lit by the sun.
Yeah, there's one of the poles in the line.
Half of it, the crown line was lit by the sun. The other half
look like one.
Disappeared. It looked like he was walking around holding this tall pole. Optical illusion there.
There you go.
Talk
to you from the field.
Okay, have a good time. And I think I'll jump over it. No, Art's heater is out too. I thought I'd move over into his chair, but I'll stay here on my side. But so Art's going to load up with our mobile crew and get down to the field that we're setting now for. You saw just a moment ago. We saw the team laying out the targets. There is one of. No, that's the gentleman holding. Fooled me once, fooled me twice. That's the gentleman holding the crown line to one of our owl special shapes. He's on the back side of the owl. There's a real pole. That's the difference. And there are 5 of those. I'll be getting out my Canon binoculars so I can spot exactly where they are on the field. I see 1, 2, 3 of them in my line of sight now, spread across the field from west to east. And and so the object again for the pilots, multiple tasks this morning. Put 1 ring around a pole if they can, and then there will be 2 target zones. Each is identical with an X and then 2 triangles on either side of the X. And the object is to put 1 marker, right on the X or as close to it as possible. That's just a simple fly-in task. And then there will be the max distance double drop, where, as we said, there will be, a set of triangles on either side of the X, and the object is to get 1 marker in each of the triangles on either side of the X, but as far apart as possible so that you get maximum distance, because the measurement is done from 1 marker to the next. So the one that is the 2 that are farthest apart is the maximum score. Okay. So I'm going to break out, my binoculars, and because I don't think, given the wind that we still have on the field today, usually what happens, and one of the reasons that we now get Art down into the target zone, is that what would happen is, as we were up here on the rooftop trying to announce the competition, the first pilots that arrived at the target would come in, they would fly past the target, and then the officials would allow them to land on the south end of the field. Well, when that happened, once we got 5 or 6 balloons on the ground that had landed in front of us, we couldn't see anything. They were between us and the target, so we were just looking at balloons, and we couldn't describe the target and the competition action. So for that reason, this year, Art, as he is now, has stepped down off the set of the rooftop studio. We'll be getting onto the golf cart with our mobile team, and they'll take Art out to the target zone, and he'll be reporting live from out there while I continue to anchor from here on the roof, and we'll get a close-up look at those target areas, and he can explain that in greater detail to you. But the reason he did that is typically because, as I say, the pilots would come and land here at the south end of the field, and then we couldn't see the action to describe it. This morning, though, I don't think that we're going to see much of that happening. The wind is significant enough still. I can't imagine that they will be letting balloons land on the south end of the field here. They're probably going to be instructed to make their drops and then go on. The whole side, I don't know if we can get, there is Cosmos, was Cosmos just a moment ago, the spaceman, the astronaut, Jerry and Cindy Holmes' balloon, standing up down on the north end of the field amongst the shapes that are still standing on the field. The Krispy Kreme balloon just getting airborne too. Krispy Kreme brings us our little mini glow in the morning, and there we are looking north at all, and that's what I was about to go to, Gary. Thank you. You read my mind there. I was going to say, if you looked off to the north and west, you can see all of the inbound competitor balloons as they have all launched now from probably out in the Corrales area, just across the Rio Grande, maybe down around the river basin, and are working their way here to the field. Now again, the targets don't open until 8:30, and so the trick is to not get here before then. And let me just see if I can check on my thank you, it's 8:19. I was trying to pick up my phone and check, but my phone won't work with my gloves on. So thanks, Gary, our director down in the truck. So yeah, it's going to be one of these first balloons coming in. Actually, the red balloon with the yellow and blue spiral about it is the balloon called G-Daddy, and that is Tomas Hora from Germany. And he's at the field a bit early, and already he's moving north to south. These guys are coming in at a bit of a diagonal coming in at a diagonal approach to the field. They're coming from the northwest, and I suspect the plan would be to come in from the northwest on the angle, and then as they come into the field, drop down and catch this north-south flow to take them across the target zones. And so you're definitely going to want to be taking off. Some of the guys, I would suspect, have already taken it off too far to the south. You're going to want to be more northerly if I were flying. And of course, it's easy to fly a balloon from here on a chair on a roof, much easier than it is to be in the basket and having to navigate the balloon. But just looking at the wind patterns that I can see that we've been watching through the morning, those that have taken off further around to the south are simply going to be, they're going to be too far south by the time they reach the field. And they will already be south of the targets. And there is no box. There's no way to move back today. It's strictly going to be a one pass. You get one shot at it, and if you miss it, you're done. And there's not going to be any of the, like we saw Maury Petrin on Monday when we did the Sid Cutter Memorial task, made 2 or 3 different loops of the field trying to get into position to improve his score. There's not going to be any of that this morning. You either get it or you don't. It's a hit or miss kind of day. And from my viewpoint, and from what I see in the winds right now, I would say at least almost 2/3 of these balloons have taken off too far to the south, or the wind is pushing them too far from the south. They may have taken off further north, but from where they are now, they're going to be hard-pressed to get to the field without already being south of the target. Let's see if I can, there's one of the balloons that has the western motif on it, the setting sun, with, and I can see that one just around the cattle drive going around on it, and he is off to the about center of the field and west of the field, just out over the arroyo that runs along the western edge of the field between here and the river. And as you can see, well, you probably can't tell there, but he's moving at a fairly decent clip, and he's moving basically north to south. So he's already he's already south of the target zone. So even if he could get to the field, he wouldn't score. You're going to want to be well around to the north. The enterprising pilot might, and I just say this might, actually take off further, almost as far out as Bernalillo, and try it. There's enough wind speed, and try flying in from a much more northerly direction this morning. I don't know that anyone would go that far north, but there's a couple that are way out on the horizon there as I look out to the north and the west. So it's entirely possible that we might see that before the morning is over. And of course the problem too, the rules are once you launch, you're committed. You can't launch and go, oops, I made a mistake, I'm not in the right spot, land and pack up and go back. Now some balloon events will allow that. We don't allow that here at Albuquerque. Once you've launched, you're committed. You can do whatever you want to change your flight path while you're in the sky by way of maneuvering either up or down and finding wind patterns at different levels to find left and right hand turn, etc. But you do not have the ability, you cannot land, pack the balloon up and go back and relaunch. That's not allowed. And we do have one balloon that's just coming over the north end of the field right now, a yellow balloon. It's got kind of it looks like a blue and then an orange and then yellow diamond in the center, just beginning to descend. Let's see if I can see what we're looking at on the monitor. I don't see it in the shot on the monitor, but he's right over the north, almost the north center of the field, right over the target, but he's north of it, but beginning to make a descent and make an approach into, there it is, in the field. Yep, yellow with that blue, red, and yellow diamond in the center. So we can watch his approach from here while Art continues to make his way down to the target zone until he's ready. He's beginning to make his descent. As he's descending, though, he's getting pushed a little bit to the west, and this is where I'm going to pull up those binoculars because there are two targets. So let me find that second target just to see if he is going to be in line to get to the one perhaps to the west side of the field. I'll see too if I can get a banner number on him by any chance. Continuing to drop in, and let's see, just down below pole level right now. Actually, he might be trying to line up to that pole that is to his left. Looks like that's exactly what he's trying to do. He is on the monitor. I'm watching through the binoculars just a little south of the pole, a little wide of the pole, and I just heard on the radio that the field is not yet open, so he is early. So I see one pole is right on the western road, or the center road. There's one in between. There's another by the target. That's 3 of the 5. But the field is not yet open. Gary, in the truck, if you'll let me know when we hit 8:30, please. In the crowd, the balloons that are up there, there's the Wyoming balloon, and he's a little left. If we pan around back to the right, we'll see the Wonder balloon. Chris Sabia in Spot the Wonder Bread balloon. Behind him is Pat Harwell. There's the Wonder balloon. That's Chris Sabia flying that. Just a little above and behind him in the balloon that is Mardi Gras colored spiral is Pat Harwell. Pat's out of Keithville, Louisiana. Royal blue balloon with a spiral that is gold, purple, and green, the colors of Mardi Gras. Looks like Richard Sabin is out there in his racer from Henderson, Texas. There is Maury Petrin. Maury is, I haven't seen the standings, but Maury was in first place on our first task, the Sid Cutter Memorial, earlier this week, and he is the 2-time defending champion of Fiesta, going for a 3-peat while he's here this week. There's Maury just to the right, just on the far right of your monitor, that racing balloon that's white with stripes of pastel colors in it. Maury is, as I said, a 2-time defending champion and hoping for a 3-peat, and certainly got off to a good start. He won the task on Monday. So now we have Art in position down in the target zone. Art, I was just pointing out Chris Sabia ahead in the Wonder balloon, and already we see Maury Petrin going to be one of the early balloons in. So take it away from down on the field.
Thanks, Glenn. Yep, we've been checking out all these folks, and a whole number of them that have already passed the target area, and we haven't quite opened it yet. We are standing by the west target. Remember we said there's one on the east and the west. And as you reminded me, when it's a maximum double drop, they put the points away from the X's. So our scoring team is still laying them out right here. We're basically just a few feet away from one. And so here's the triangle with the point pointing towards you, or the other triangle pointing to the other side. There's a marker drop, but our red racer is going to touch the ground, just skimmed it.
Oh, no.
But I don't have 8:30 on my watch either, so definitely ahead of time. They're not quite ready here. Yeah, 8:28 is what I have. And so if you can see the in the center there, Tom, there's the X there. So this is really 3 markers get dropped right here. The closest to the point of the triangle over there, on the center of the X, and the closest to the point of the triangle on this end. And of course, before you get to this, there are 5 poles out there, and you had those rings. I left my ring up there, so I'm not going to be able to score down here. On the pole, they're going to try and ring the pole, and we heard first and last on the pole, Digitools, cash for everybody else that's on there, and these targets, the maximum double drop in the X, are going to be points for the overall competition that you were just talking about, Maury Petrin going for his 3-peat.
Well, and I see Pat Harwell just made an approach in. He's in that royal blue balloon with the Mardi Gras spiral around it on the east side there, Art, but I'm not sure if he might have been a minute or so too early. There goes a marker throw actually out of his balloon, back toward the X. There comes a second marker out, so maybe he did wait to see the timing. "15 seconds till the targets are open, so these guys are still too close. They're too early."
And they're throwing as well. We did see the one come down from Pat Harwell, and this multicolor with the black and white spirals racer that just went by dropped in as well. So his is outside the team. We're trying to get the scorers outside of the actual target so that we can officially get things open here. But you're right, people are coming in and throwing their markers, and they're going to be too early.
Well, and as
it is definitely fast as they come through.
As I was saying, it's a one hit or miss day. You're going to get one shot at the target. If you're here early, you just missed it. Maury Petrin looks like he's going to be one of the first to be in regulation time, Art.
Well, I'm not surprised that he would definitely be watching. I went back and watched some of the video of the competition the other day when he was at the very end of things, and I swear he was looking down at his iPad or something to check the time to see how much more time he had to get in and make his drop. He's pulling on the vent right now.
I see one more. He's got a marker in hand, winding it up.
So there's the wind up. So there's the first one. He's inside. There's the second one. That actually fell long, so he missed. He's off the X. The other red one dropped outside the scoring area.
Yep.
So he got one of the 3. So the maximum isn't going to get him a lot of points. The blue and white one that's coming in, winding up, that are coming right over the road. You've got the royal blue with the black and white on the sides. I see the multi-yellow, green, etc. for you. He's got a nice line. That's banner number 196. I believe it's royal blue. He dropped it just inside the point, so that's a good one. So let's see what happens with the X. He's right on the center of the X. Now he's got one more to get in the other point of the triangle. That's going to be a great score for 196, the royal blue balloon.
I'm looking that up now, Art. Let's see, but my spotting thing gave me an error.
The name of it is royal blue. It's banner 196. Now, the yellow, blue with the black and whites coming in on the west target. We'll see what happens with this one. 169. That's a nice throw on the. There's another good one. Nice 3 throws for number 169. Yellow, red verticals interrupted by black and white checkerboards. Just had an attempt on the pole by the yellow one with the zigzag colors, chain-like colors going around. I don't think they got the pole. Of course, now we touch down, so that'll be some sort of penalty. Got the markers out now. This is so fast coming in that they have to move very quickly. And so going up, drop the first red one. That one's in the scoring area.
Pattern number 196, Art
the second
was
red one.
Yeah, 196 Art was Royal Racer. That is Brandon Bloom out of Indianola, Iowa, flying that.
Here comes one of our chairs, our hoppers, the yellow one with the vertical spirals, multicolors, kind of through just one marker towards the X. There's the X one. I think they're supposed to do the orange on the maximums and the white on the X. Is that right, Jay? Yeah. White markers. Right. Okay, so red and orange on the triangles, and any other color can come down on the X. So now you also have to pay attention to what colors you're dropping.
Yeah, so even
in addition to how fast you're dropping them as they come in.
So even though Moyer may have gotten a marker down close to the X, if it was the wrong color, it wouldn't count. This is a pretty dramatic move by this hopper here.
Yeah. So Moyer did drop an orange one on the first triangle, got it in there. He did throw a white one towards the X, so that's in good shape. His second one on the outside triangle was outside the triangle, so that one's gonna his maximum double drop won't have a score on there.
Yeah.
So the black almost racer with the yellow, orange, and red coming down the west side, very high. That's banner 103. Winding up the white marker. There's one throw. It's going to be a nice, that's not too bad from the X. There goes the red one trying to get to the triangle. And it is off the side of the triangle as well.
And that is Sunny Stuff, the name of the balloon. That is Mark Trianis flying that balloon, Art. And it's interesting because there's a round balloon coming right behind it of the same pattern. And there is the Slanja team coming straight at you. They're right in the center of the field there in the tartan balloon, the New Mexico tartan balloon, Jeff Ashworth.
Looks like he might have a good line for the second pole from the east.
And the great thing about having you down there
is actually right on the road.
The great thing of having you down there is you'll be able to see if they get the pole. A lot of times we speculate from up here. Looks like he's a little east.
Coming at yeah. So the more normal shape one kind of faked a ring throw, just like, oh yeah, there it is, but it was right between them. But now both the Slanja and the other regular one that's coming through, they're getting ready to wind up and throw.
Well, Slanja.
This is 219 going by me right now. A wing and a throw. Didn't make it into the area. The Slanja is coming in, going to come right in over the point of that target.
He split the poles. He went right between two of them like a field goal.
So he's a little bit off them there. Let's see what that one is. There's a great throw on the northern diamond.
Oh, his white marker looks like he's right on the X. Yeah.
Yeah, it bounced off just a little bit. Let's see where that one drops in. That's going to be a great score, too.
That's Jeff Ashworth in Slanja.
So we'll watch a few go off to the west. Next one's coming down. I have a rainbow colored spiral with a nice white spiral going with it, and above that is one of Al Lowenstein's balloons. I'm not sure who's flying it. Kind of a checkwork pattern with a nice bright yellow sun. So we're going to kind of watch those two come in. I think the lower one, actually both of them now are going to be, well, that one might have a line for the far western pole. We'll keep watching that.
Quick good morning to Malcolm White, who's watching from Ireland. Good morning, Malcolm. Sharon Spaulding is watching.
So they've got the ring in hand, and they're going to throw it.
That usually doesn't work.
Not quite. No. We're going to get a drop from the Weather Channel balloon. That's the one with the sun on it. There's the orange one coming down. Nice drop in the northern one. There's the yellow, going to be a little bit south of the X. Drop the other red one. Oh, too late. I can see that one. It's off the side. The white one, which is 163. They're too far west of the targets to get their markers dropped in. So, yeah, boy, coming in here, you've got to be right on. You don't have any time to wind up on that second and third baggie. Well, you have to drop, and almost that fast.
And there's no maneuvering, I see, Art. There's no real, I mean, you're either online or you're not. You can't do any, there's not a lot of up and down and jumping and moving left or right at the last moment. You're basically either going to be online or you're not.
That's exactly right. Whatever the path is when you're coming in, and we've seen a couple different paths just on the moment that you come through. But whatever line you have coming over, there's no adjusting, and as we've said all morning, there's no box, there's no second chance today.
Well, and Art,
so it's one of those days where it's
go ahead.
I was going to say it's one of those days where it's a lot of skill, a lot of luck, and some pilot error on top of it to get to all three targets.
Well, and I was saying earlier while you were making your way to the field, and I'd like to get your perspective on this, it looks to me like a lot of pilots are actually taking off too far around to the south. They need to be taking off much further around to the north. You've got one batch out there over that far pylon to the northwest. Maharani, Meg Skelton is kind of leading that bunch, but then about 2/3 of the balloons around to the left look to me that they've just literally launched too far south already.
Yeah, almost too far to the west. But you remember early on, the very first winds coming off the field were going to the southeast. So based on that, those were the right places. But the wind shifted just a little bit more, that it's almost directly south or a little bit to the southwest.
Yeah.
So there's been maybe a 15-degree shift in the winds, not enough to give you any steerage. But yeah, you go figure out where that where that launch site might be. You pick that spot. Remember, too, that you've got to find a spot that's legal to launch from. Directly north of us, we run into the Sandia Indian Reservation, which is a no-launch zone. So you have to kind of get off to the side of one of those or go way out to Bernalillo, like we're flying from here south of the airport. You go out to Bernalillo to make a long flight to get here as well.
Well,
so finding that perfect launch site today is tough.
I was going to ask if you thought anyone might do that, because I had again speculated that as you were making your way down, is that it looked to me like one good option might be to go to Bernalillo. It's a long flight back here, but there's enough wind speed, and that might have been a better place to go to search for a launch site.
I think that might have been a good strategy. Although there's a group coming in here now. I see about 6 or 8 of them that seem to be having either a straight south, or there might be just a little bit of an east in there.
Yeah.
Meg Skelton's yellow racer with the snake around it has got a little bit of a southeast, and so she should end up with a nice line when she gets down in here. And there's a half a dozen balloons around her that are kind of on that same track, that same line. But you're right, off to the west, there's a whole bunch of guys and many good competitors over there as well. I see Dave Eichhorn over there. I see Morgan Chando over there. That might be Steve Mazzincello. And I think that's Phil Cathy and Skittles over there. A bunch of those guys that do a lot of the competitions, and they are definitely ending up on the west side of the field, almost almost over the river instead of over the field.
Well, and one of those out there, very high, is Dr. Bill Bussey, and he's certainly a top competitor. But you're right. I think Meg Skelton has a pretty good line, and for the record, that is a dragon, not a snake. So you'll get called out on that, I'm sure, on social media. The balloon's called Maharani.
I knew that.
I know you knew that, but I just, since I called Ashley a girl yesterday, I figured I'd get you for calling the dragon a snake.
Hey, it's a live show. There's almost 600 balloons here. And, my spotter app is back up there. I realized that I don't have time to use it down here, especially today with as fast as furious as they're going to come through here. So we'll call out a color and a number when we find it, and hopefully you can back us up and put some names and balloon names to it.
I'll try to do that. And the good news is the propane man just showed up to refill our heaters up here.
Now that I'm down here, it is warmer down here on the field in the sun.
I don't want to hear it, Art.
Of course, I also put my hood up.
I noticed that. I don't want to hear about it being warmer.
So we're going to watch this kind of stair-step multicolor come in. They're coming in nice and low. Behind them, there's black verticals with green and yellow and orange at the bottom. We're going to watch those come in.
If you see banner numbers, let me know.
First one coming through is actually... I will. They actually they have a nice line on that one pole. Tom, let's move up this way just a little bit. We're gonna move this way just a little bit. Yep, didn't come down in time to get to the pole. Meg is making a drop though, and it looks like in time to maybe get the second pole from the west. 034 or 54. 034 is the one coming in front. And so both of them blew, trying to wind up on the one. That marker's just outside. Meg's throw is just outside.
034
both
is
through the white ones. And this green and black one coming towards you is 119 over the top of the poles as well, going to drop on the maximum double drop. Got the orange marker in hand, throws it, and it's inside, so that's a good score. Someone else, the passenger threw the X, that's a different strategy, and a good throw on the X. Now on the other, and they're inside, so that's a great score for the green one. I think it was 136.
It's actually that's 119, and the green one with the yellow and orange around the bottom, and that is Sky Trek is the name of the balloon, and that is Mike Johnson out of Mitchell, NE, Nebraska. 8th year, Mike Johnson from Nebraska.
So a nice strategy with that one, Glenn, in that the pilot threw the two markers for the maximum double drop, but the pilot or the passenger threw the marker for the X. So instead of having one person drop, you have someone else throw that middle one, gives you an opportunity to concentrate on the other. So that's a strategy I hadn't thought of. I was glad to see that happen out here.
That balloon we're looking at on the monitor now near you, the yellow and blue checked with the red vertical spires, that is Bob Pulaski. I believe that is Bob Pulaski. I just saw him at the hotel this morning. I think that's right. Let me double check that.
It is kind of interesting that they are basically blowing off the poles. There's not a whole lot of attempts on the poles at the moment. They seem to be aiming for these targets. There's a marker being thrown.
That is in fact Bob Pulaski.
Inside, there's the white one and the red one. And it's inside, so good scores for Bob.
Yeah, Bob is flying a balloon called Ski Lift, and he is here out of Pineville, Louisiana. Had a chance to meet with he and his crew. They were doing a little barbecue in the hotel parking lot last night.
So we have two racers coming in low. We've got the blue one, which is a little bit farther out, the mostly yellow with the green and purple going up, blue going down. Looks like they're going to split those poles as well. The blue one might have a line on the middle pole along the road. but they are low enough that if they line up on the poles,
they'll miss the
they'll
target.
have a shot. Yeah, the yellow one is past the poles, coming in right over the double drops. I'm watching the blue one because he looks to be having a line for the pole.
He's got his ring in hand. Yeah.
There's a throw, and it does not make the pole. Great throw on the target by the yellow one. Now they're throwing the X. That's another great throw on the X. And inside the target. So a great one for the yellow racer.
That's banner
This
number
is
224.
233, the blue one with the yellow at the bottom. 233.
Oh, blue with yellow at the bottom. I was looking at the other one, which is, now I've forgotten the number.
057 is the Loveless Health System one coming through. Black at the bottom, the typical Raven rally pattern. Off to the side of the target. Next up is Civil Air Patrol. We'll see who, as they get closer, whether that's Jessica or Will flying.
That racer that was blue with the yellow, green, and then pink at the top that went by, that was 224, and that is the balloon called Resurrection, and Brett Christian flying that balloon out of Indianola, Iowa.
So a little scrape of the ground. Jessica's flying this morning, got the passenger winding up, bounced it off the basket. We've all seen that happen before. There's the second one, almost made it out. So a great pass, but not great scores. I do see that they are still attempting to land right at the south end of the target.
Yeah, they are.
I
I was about to say they are allowing them to come down here and land, and so far everybody's doing a pretty good job of it.
Well, the good news is, as breezy as it is, they're not going to stand up. They're going to deflate quickly.
Yeah, whether they want to or not.
Make that landing down there.
Whether they want to or not, they're going to deflate.
So the Limoncello racer is coming in. Might be a little bit on the east side of things.
That would be Steve Wilkinson out of California.
And, the multi-blue shade one. Either going to split the, might have a good line on the second pole in. So we'll keep an eye on the blue one. Multi-shades of blue.
I'm going to watch him with my binoculars.
He's going to pass between them. Yep, and a throw of the ring that does not make the pole. That would have even been a harder pole because that pole was bending away from them. We'll watch for the drops on the blue.
Is that 003?
The blue, multi-blues, the banner's on the other side. I can't help you there, sir.
I believe that's 003. Let me just double check that.
Not paying attention here. We're going to hit the ground and move the target. Of course, throw the baggie out. Our scoring team running out to adjust the target. And the second one is inside as well. So good scores on the maximum double drop, but hitting the ground gets you some sort of penalty. And moving the target, I don't know what they can do for that. So Limoncello's throw. Steve Wilkinson's just outside. There's his blue one for the X. And there's the other one, and it is outside the target as well.
And if our viewers don't think it's windy, all they have to do is listen to the audio, because you can hear the wind in the microphones down there now and up here.
Yeah, it's definitely, although I hate to tell you this, but it doesn't feel as windy right here on the ground, but maybe that's because I put my hood up and my headset is holding the hood over my ears. It's actually making my ears nice and warm.
Well, I can tell you the Cannon wind flag down here in front of us is flapping pretty good, and it's vertically straight at us. Normally we can read the word Cannon on either side of it, and now it's just like a thin pole, so the wind is definitely straight out of the north, and it's blowing pretty good here on our end of the world.
Well, just as you were saying that, my badges that are hanging around my neck are flopping in the wind as well. So a very fast, steep approach on the far west side. He's going to be west of the field. The zigzag rainbow colors.
He's well wide of the field, too.
Looks
I can
like
tell you that from here.
054 maybe.
Yeah, he's out over the Arroyo.
054. Yep. Eric Greenwood, though, in the yellow one with the New Mexico's shapes around it,
Right.
and Visit USA on the banner side. He might have a good shot here. We'll watch him come in next.
Quick note here from Drew Egerton saying, Glenn, you guys have improved the competition coverage a lot this year, having Art on the field to report. And you're absolutely right, Drew, and we're really thrilled to be able to do that.
You bet.
Because
Thanks
before,
for the shout out on that. We appreciate that.
Yeah, before there was often we couldn't see the target, as we've discussed, because the early balloons landed in front of us and our vision was blocked. So having Art in the target zone now really is making a difference for us.
You got to get this shot, Tristan. Got one of a photographer out here. I said, needs to get the shot of me and Tom with the camera here out in the target area. So this brings back my days of when I was on the scoring team, being out in the middle of right in the middle of the target. Always fun to watch that come in, and so that's always nice. So Eric's going to be Eric Greenwood in the yellow one with the red New Mexico. Actually, let's see. Hard to tell from my angle what his line on that pole is, but he's definitely at the right height.
You know, Art, while we watch him, we're not that far into the ring. I was just going to say, we're not that deep into the competition, and there's only about a dozen balloons left out there in the sky that even have a hope of getting here to the target.
Well, we said it was going to be fast and furious as it goes.
Yeah, or so a lot of guys are moving to the north.
Did not get to the pole. Winding up, there's the throw, and it's just outside the target. There's the other red one. That one's just outside. There's the white one for the X. So the white one will get scored on the X. The others will not because they are outside that maximum scoring area.
You see now, as you
so
look,
we do have, you're right,
as you look to the northwest, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, way off in the distance, 12, 13, not many more than about a baker's dozen that I would think have a chance of getting here.
I think you're right. I see Mariah way off to the west. Pink and blue, a couple shades of blue is going to be off to the west.
Yeah,
the
I see that.
neon color ones going to be off to the west. We need to watch this red, black, yellow with the black cross.
I was just about to say, he's up high but descending.
Field. Yep. Needs to descend a little faster. Don't know if he's listening to our broadcast.
Well, but he's in one of those.
If I were coaching from the ground,
yeah, but Art, he's in a round balloon. If he were a racer, he probably could get down here, but he's in that round balloon. He can't fall as quickly.
That's correct.
And actually, I can tell from the shape of the balloon, he's put some heat in it and rounded out and stopped his descent.
As you can see, there is now, at the moment, a direction to the southeast. So that batch that's still out there might go. He's thrown his ring from way up there. Because we just got to watch that ring come down.
Does the term not a chance and you know what come to mind?
Yeah, but you know, he had the right distance. He's just equal distance between the poles. So it is 149, banner 149, now that I can see that.
I'll get that for you.
You got their orange one out. Throw it, throw it, throw it. You're going to be too late. Throw it. Right in the center of the triangle. There, looks like they're not going to throw on the X, but on the other half, throw it, throw it, throw it. Come on. Waited too long, and outside the triangle it falls.
And that Art is Cody Robinson in the balloon Grand Banana from Kansas City, Missouri.
You know, one of the other reasons I'm sure we have the target area roped off here, other than safety, is to keep people from standing out here saying, throw it, like I just did.
Yeah.
Too much coaching from the ground.
Got to keep the peanut gallery quiet.
And we all know that happens at it all happens at things like nationals and stuff. I remember the idea of when I was crewing for some competitors, that you would park the truck in the direction that the wind was blowing, and you would leave the doors open, so from above the truck would look like an arrow, giving you an idea of which direction the wind was blowing. And that way you're not telling them on the radio, you just give them a visual signal as to what direction the wind might be blowing.
You know, that's something.
Little tricks that we used to do as crew.
I was going to say, that's something I've never heard of in this sport, so I just learned something for the first time. Thank you for that.
Well,
I've seen
part of that was even before we had great GPS and radios and things as well.
Well, I have seen Joe Hartzell at Nationals have his crew with a bright orange high-vis vest, and I've seen them get out and form a human arrow pointing in the direction of the wind, but I've never seen the truck parked with the doors open, but that makes perfect sense.
I've never seen the human one, so different experiences here of the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Hey, earlier, remember somebody was asking about Sonny Boy? I see Sonny Boy standing up on the far side of the field over there now.
Our great minds think alike, because I was about to mention the same thing. I saw him standing there just a few moments ago.
So we've been talking and watching that batch of balloons. They have figured out that there is a little bit of an east up there. And so a number of them are now moving east. And you just mentioned the Hartzels, and there is one of the Hartzell balloons in the mix.
You know, I just see
the
that.
Middle of that pack.
But literally, as I look around, Art, if you look further around to the west, the sky is virtually empty of balloons. There's this dozen or so in this pack coming toward us, and that's it.
Yep. Ken Drawn is out there, I see.
Oh, well spotted,
is that Sean Rea, I think I see out there as well. And the chain link racer being flown by one of the Wright brothers, one of the Wright boys.
Yeah, Tom or Timmy, we can't recall which. I don't remember which was right.
And actually, there's a Wells Fargo balloon way off to the west a little bit. Definitely won't get here, but they're out there as well. So the next one up looks to be this yellow around the equator with the pink above and below, making a descent and seeing if they'll get just a direct south here. I'm thinking that, I'm thinking this might be a good pass by this one coming in. Again, the yellow with the pink at the top and bottom. When they get closer, I'll get you a banner number if I can.
Well, I've got my binoculars out now. I think they're still a little far away. The banner must be on the other side because I don't see it.
It is. It is. I can see the basket and it's just wicker on this side.
Yeah, same here in the binoculars. See, he's on the banner's on the back side.
I can hear the wind in my microphone and my headset.
I was about to say I can too, and I can feel it. And all of these balloons coming in, I'm just looking at Hartzell and the other two above them, and all the banners are on the other side, unfortunately.
But you see how they're all making that move to the southeast, and then as they kind of line up on the field, drop down because it's a little more straight south. So our yellow one with the pink has gone back up a little bit. They're going to be on the east side of our poles, it appears.
Our crack production team has told me that is banner number 145, and that is the balloon Hubba Bubba. We should know that from the Dawn Patrol out of El Paso, Texas. That's Bubba Wiener
from our north camera.
Yeah, that's Bubba Wiener.
Yeah.
Who flies Hubba Bubba in the Dawn Patrol show. And you're right, I think the north camera grabbed that banner number for us. Our crack production team down there, Gary and his folks.
Another reason to have a north camera shot.
Yeah. Look at that one in the northwest corner though, Art. He's moving way out to the west.
I am. He might have a line on the far west pole. There's Bubba's drop. That was a white one, so that should have been the X. I don't see him dropping on the maximum double drops. Tom, let's check. Tom, if we could look this way.
I'm watching the other one on the pole. out to the west.
Yep, he's
There
going to have a
went his
nice shot. A
ring.
little bit of a toss off the side.
Yeah.
Off the side of it. But now coming in right behind him, blue, purple, a couple shades of purple and blue. He might have a good line at it as well. The one we saw go by was 067. And the blue one coming in with the black and pink purples in it.
He's actually a little short and wide of the pole. That first one now.
Split him.
There is another one in front of him. I can't tell if his line looks very good from our perspective here, but I'm watching him.
He has come right through the middle of the poles.
Yeah, he sure has. Split them.
156, the blue and purples and pinks. Looking for the marker. Where's the marker? Where is it? There's the orange one, and it's just outside the triangle. There's another orange one, and that's outside, and so the white one will drop in on for the X.
That is a balloon called Highlight.
So,
and J.J. Mancini from Albuquerque is the pilot.
JJ is a fairly new pilot, but he has been scoring well in our local competition club, Top Gun.
Look at Hartzell, whichever one that is.
Balloon, whichever one that is. Yeah, we'll get closer to Hartzell here. Right on top of each other with the same thing.
Yep, once again, our
We
brains
do
think
this
alike.
Too much together.
That's, I think that's Steve Lombardi out there too in the RNS Motorsports balloon, that rainbow spiraled racer with the black and white spiral going through it.
Yes, now that it's closer, I can see it, Steve. I thought it was someone else earlier. Watch the teal one, the right balloon, the kind of teal with the blue. And
yep.
Here's a perfect example of that quick descent in a racer balloon we've been talking about.
That's the not Jonathan Wright pilot.
Hard on the burner to put some heat in there.
Oh, not hard enough though. Watch this. Oh, that hurt. That rapid descent has to be stopped by rapid.
One of our pylons lost his hat.
Yeah, that rapid descent's got to be stopped by a rapid braking with the burner, and he didn't have enough burner.
Yep. They stayed in the basket. The black multicolor one way above them dropped from way high. All of a sudden this marker comes down on us. He's under control. The Hartzell balloon's going to be coming down the far east side of the field right over the crown line. Not close enough for the competition, as is the RNS Motorsports.
Yeah, Steve Lombardi
Team
in that one.
RNS, actually.
Yeah, Team RNS.
They're going to both be east of. Yeah, they're going to both be east of the target area. Steve's going to wind up and throw in here. We need to keep an eye on this rainbow colored with a lot of black racer coming in.
I'm watching him in the pole.
Two things happen. Yeah. So the ring on towards the pole missed. Steve throws. He's outside the diamond. There's another racer dropping in on a pole. Interesting how they all come in together here at one time, right? 188 is this first racer coming in with the black stair steps and the yellow, green, etc. 188. There's a nice throw inside the first triangle. There's the throw towards the X, not bad. And inside on the second one as well. So a good score from, I think I said 188.
You did. I just called it up, and that doesn't. The balloon doesn't match. That shows the KU, the Kansas Jayhawk balloon, called Airtight, flown by Chris Liberti. So now maybe he's flying a racer in competition.
Maybe a racer today.
Yeah,
so
different
wind
envelope.
Up from the second racer, green at the bottom, orange and yellow going up the side. Big wind up, throw it.
Quick coaching.
Just on the inside of the triangle. There's the yellow one for the X. That's not bad. And there's the other one inside. So a good score for that second racer coming through. Next up should be Ken Drawn, yellow with the blue and red chain links. and a little bit bigger racer behind him. And then still lining up farther out, the Phillips 66 balloon and Paul Petrin.
And I only see 3 other balloons in the sky, Art, just so you know.
Yep. We're going to get 3 of them here. I think 2 of those other 3 will probably get here. I'm not sure about the far west one.
I think
that's
that far
red.
west, that red one may not make it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a ring toss here from 167. Did not make the pole. Ken's got a, from my angle, looks like a decent line on that far east pole. You might have a better viewpoint.
167 is superfluous, and that is Larry Cohen.
Oh, just missed it.
Was that Ken?
Was close, just give it a little toss.
Oh, no.
Nice computer on 167 coming in. Big wind up. There's the throw. Did he get enough? It appears to be inside. Ken's got a good throw on his.
167.
There's the yellow. Wait.
Sorry, 167 is Larry Cohen flying superfluous, although again the balloon doesn't match. But that's the banner number info.
Okay. So I think Ken got in the first triangle, close to the X, and I think he was outside the triangle. Ken, I didn't see his drop on the second triangle.
And someone on Facebook confirming Larry Cohen is in that racer, so he's changed envelopes from what we have in our spotter guide. Willie Eimer's watching again this morning. Good morning, Willie. Nice to have you joining us.
Hi, Willie.
What a gas race, huh, Willie?
Miss you here this year, Willie.
That was awesome, and he's got to be proud of Team Texas, Brian and Brenda, their first gas race. They've been training with Willie over the last couple of years.
They had a great showing in our America's Challenge race.
Yeah, they ended up, were they 4th, I think?
I think it was 4th.
Yeah, to just miss the podium in their first gas race, that's pretty awesome.
It is. So Paul Petrin bringing Phillips 66 in. I think he has waited too late to drop, but again, we just saw the one of those last racers all of a sudden head
Ken
west.
Drawn, though.
Actually noticing Ken Drawn's went that way too.
Yeah, he came all the way across the field from southeast to northwest, so maybe Paul does have the right plan in mind, coming across the field now.
And it looks like he's dropping, very slightly though.
Yeah, he's dropping now. I think he's just been in a little more.
Paul got the pole last year. You're one of the guys that got the pole. We actually had video and a whole series of still shots in him dropping in, and he just kind of reached out. It kind of helps that Paul is tall and has long arms. Reached out and just kind of set the ring right over the pole, and oh, that's all it wrote. It's going to be east of that far pole, though. His long arms aren't going to be enough. Let's see if he catches the same west we just saw on those racer balloons that came in just a few minutes ago.
And it looks like that other balloon out there.
He's gonna get it probably.
Just gonna say, aren't the yellow balloon high with the blue and white checks? And it looks like he's trying to set up the same pattern that Paul Petrin's flying. I think they both saw what Ken Drawn did.
But he did not go as far to the east as Paul did.
Well,
but
he's
blue
climbing.
And yellow checks. Now that I can see it.
Yeah, he's climbing now, though.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. So he may be trying to move a little further
Paul
east.
was just out. Yeah, Paul was just outside the target and just inside the second one, so we got in one of the triangles. It looks like he may land right down there in front of you as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to cross to where Ken Drawn landed.
Yeah, as we speculated, the red one's going to be on the west side of the field, which leaves 3 more balloons coming our way. First one in will be the blue and yellow checkerboard with yellow on the top and the bottom and a red stripe above and below the checkerboard.
Is that other yellow one way out there?
He's descending now as well.
That other yellow one, is that the one that has the pink and teal kind of lattice work around the center?
It is.
Okay.
And then the farther out one is one of those standard Aerostar patterns with the black or blue at the bottom and the paint bucket spills coming over the top.
Okay, yeah, the rainbow paint bucket.
Sounds like we got some good music going on the main stage.
Sounds like it,
If I had
yeah.
my spotter app, I could tell you who it was. Of course, this is a great day to be out here at the Balloon Fiesta Park all day today. As our competition wraps up this morning, lots of stuff happening throughout the day on Main Street with entertainment, and of course the Balloon Discovery Center, the Artisan's Tent, chainsaw carving. Great day to stay out here, and then just be here for the Special Shapes Glowdeo underway tonight. It's going to be a great night. Fast Tracks are going to drop in with the big flag, our Glowdeo. Fast Tracks will come back in with pyrotechnics, and we'll have a great afterglow fireworks. Looks like 077 is this yellow and blue checkerboard.
And it looks like we're not going to need the window until 10 a.m. because it's not quite 9:15, and we've only got 2 more balloons after this one.
There you go. So you wound up just the white one, only through 1 marker. So that'll be scored on the X, which is between those 2 triangles.
This is a balloon called Mas Tequila out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and that is Danielle Sasser, or Sasser it looks like. I've discovered part of the problem is I can't read my iPad in the shade with my photo gray lenses. It's too dark, so I'm having to read without my glasses. I should have brought just my plain glasses out.
Okay, you know, I'm going to redesign the spotter app for next year with more pilots bringing more balloons. I have to kind of, if you're a database type of guy, I need to make the base more of the balloon. So we'll spot the balloon and then know who the pilot is. But on the other hand, there's a whole lot of pilots on multiple balloons. So I have to redesign the basic underlying structure of the database to make it a little easier to be able to pull all that together.
And bigger type.
I'll make the type bigger for you.
I was going to say bigger type for us old folks. Actually, if I just had my standard non-photo gray lens glasses, I'd be just fine. But I only have what I have now are my photo grays and my regular sunglasses, and it's just, as you know, Art, even though the sun is high into the sky, I'm still in the shade here, and so trying to read a shaded iPad screen through dark sunglasses is just almost impossible.
Yeah. Well, and as we get more and more information, we talked a little bit earlier about some of the pronouncers of not only the balloon, but of the pilot. I've been kind of adding on, and if you've done any kind of app development or almost kind of anything where you try and improve it every year, you get to a point at some point on something like this where you kind of have to back up and redesign.
Yeah.
You can't just keep tacking on anymore. You have to do something different.
Well, and now I know that the blue and the pink means is a gender guide. I didn't realize that before, so I'm learning things. Just about the time I learn to use this one, you'll change it all.
Well, the features that have been working there, I mean, I hope to redesign the UI, the user interface. I hope not to design that too much, just kind of be more efficient on the use of screen space now that I have more information to be able to display there. So I see the sponsor banner. This looks like it says RPS, which would be balloon insurance. Isn't that RPS?
Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, that's one of the major insurers in the ballooning
RPS
world.
Balloon. That's the yellow with the pink and teal lattice work coming around it. He's going to be well off to the east side now. Waited way too long.
I'm losing my backdrop as we speak. The set team is taking that down. It's getting a little windier up here on the rooftop, so they've decided to strike the backdrop. Just so you know.
Okay. Well, we did our show last night without it at all.
I saw that, yeah.
Because it was even windier.
Well, an
Hi,
RPS
guys.
is not going to make it to the target, that's for sure. He's out over Main Street now. And it looks like that other balloon is doing the same. He's well off to the east, so he would have to drop and really get a hard push to the northwest to get back into the scoring zone.
You know, now that that's got closer, that is not the paint drop with the black on the bottom. That looks like Skip Howe's in Wildfire, or one similar to that. It has teal verticals separated by orange, kind of a chevron or zigzag a little bit.
Yeah, I see the teal in it now. Can't quite make out the pattern. I guess if I use my binoculars, I could.
It's not Skip. It's not Skip, but
that's
it's got the same color pattern.
That's a little Firefly or Barnes balloon.
Yeah, now that he's closer, we can see that.
Yeah, it's got
Hey, we have a helicopter up that would have a good line in.
Yeah, he's got, it's a teal, base teal, but then with chevrons of, looks like teal, blue, maybe purple, violet, pink, red, orange, and yellow in it. And he's well east of the field. He's not even to the field yet.
Yeah, he won't even make concession row.
No, not even going to get over Main Street.
So even though the target is open for a little while yet, I think we're pretty much done with competition out here.
Yeah,
and
I think
so again, today's competition was the ring poles, ringing the pole with your hoop. We didn't see any of that. We had a half a dozen folks give that ring a toss and see what happens, and they all fell short of getting over the poles, so I don't believe we gave anything away on the poles. The other task was a maximum double drop. We don't usually see maximum double drops, we usually do minimums. The idea is there are two big triangles out here, and you want to be in the point of the triangle of each of those triangles, giving you the maximum distance yet within a defined scoring area. We had a number of people that actually managed to do that. You drop on the first triangle, drop on the second triangle, and then just to add to the entire competition here as well, the X that sits between those triangles to give us a center point to mark from, that was a target in its own right. And so they were to throw a different color baggie on that than they did, let me stop this, a different color baggie on the X than they were throwing on the maximum double drop. So a number of people did throw those. Those will be scored within the target area here as well. So quite a few scores on the X, a number of scores on the maximum double drop competition, and to my best knowledge, no poles were obtained with that ring today here on our competition day as part of our Special Shapes Rodeo with a Glowdeo scheduled for tonight.
And that,
yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say that wraps up competition for this year for Balloon Fiesta. Tomorrow, of course, over the night, all of the points will be totaled up, and tomorrow you and I will be host at the award ceremony, the prize giving, as they call it over in Europe, and we'll be handing out an awful lot of cash and money, but the competition for the year now has wrapped. That was the last chance for these pilots to score this morning, Art.
And we are going to do something else new this year, Glenn, here on Balloon Fiesta Live. As we announce and MC the awards banquet tomorrow, we're going to record the awarding of all those prizes and the handing of that out. We're not going to do it live because the timing is not such that that works for anybody to kind of watch or tune in. It's kind of a flex timing thing. But we're going to go ahead and record that, and then we'll post it on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel so that you can go back and see the awards and see all of the where your favorite pilot came out in the list of things. In addition to not only the competition, there are other special awards that are presented at that association as well.
Yeah.
We recognize the Heritage Award award winner. We recognize the Hall of Fame entry for this year, and the Sid Cutter Award given by the local balloon club, the Quad A, the Albuquerque Ascension Association. Did I get all the A's in there? I don't think so. Anyway, they're for
Albuquerque
the person that has
you left out
contributed,
Aerostat. Albuquerque
That's what it was.
Aerostatic
I knew there was one more
Aerostat
in there.
Ascension Association. Yeah, one more A.
I'm a member of the Education Committee, and actually I'm the past winner of the Sid Cutter Award. We didn't give one last year, but I won it in 2017. Honored for our work with education and the promoting the sport of ballooning, and we'll be awarding another Sid Cutter Award at that awards banquet as well. So again, we're planning to record that. Once we have that show recorded, we will go ahead and post that so that you can enjoy the awards ceremony as well, just as we have brought you all of the activity here at Balloon Fiesta Park, the 48th annual Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta presented by Canon.
And I think it's probably time we can wrap things up. I've been scanning the horizon, Art, and as you say, even though the target's open for at least almost another half hour, I don't see another balloon in the sky anywhere. I don't think we're going to see any more ballooning activity this morning. As you've mentioned, we do have tonight's Rodeo Glowdeo. We'll be back on the air live with Balloon Fiesta Live at 6:30 tonight for, and of course, again, we will record the earlier jump, the 5 p.m. jump of Team Fast Tracks, where they come in with the American flag for the national anthem. We record that and commentate on it as if it were live, and then we play that back at the beginning of our program tonight. Then we have our Rodeo Glowdeo, and then the jump, the second pyrotechnic jump of Team Fast Tracks, and then our Afterglow fireworks. So a lot of activity coming up tonight. Then we change horses in the middle of the stream, as it were, and go back to our weekend programming, which tomorrow morning we'll see our mass ascension off the field tomorrow night, our final night magic glow, and then of course the final farewell mass ascension on Sunday. It seems hard to believe we're that close to wrapping this year. Art, it doesn't seem like we just barely got started.
That's exactly what it feels like. So, but you're right. It always goes fast. It always goes quick. It's always tiring and exciting. But yep, you got it all down there. So we're going to pack up from here. The target's open for another 35 minutes. But yeah, as I look around, I see 4, 5. Oh man, actually, there's quite a few balloons still up in the air. Way south. There's the last 3 or 4 that have come over the field with no box this morning. There are no balloons out there. I can't imagine someone waiting to this point to put up. So we'll kind of, our scorer team will stand out here and watch the wind blow and measure the scores, that markers that have been dropped, and it'll be kind of a short day for them as well. So from out here on the field, I'm Art Lloyd Jr.
Thank you, Art, and appreciate all the hard work out there. And it's great to have you down in the target zone, as we've had several comments on our Facebook audience telling us that it really has made an improvement in the coverage we're able to provide here on Balloon Fiesta Live of our competition days, and we're glad that you've enjoyed it. Art will make his way back up here now, and so I guess time really just to kind of wrap things up again, just to run through the schedule for the rest of the day. We'll be signing off here in a few minutes, and then be back on the air tonight at 6:30 p.m. for the start of tonight's Rodeo Glowdeo. Now, this is a balloon glow, for those of you not familiar with it, that will be limited to just the special shaped balloons. So one final chance to see them. We'll be signing on at 6:30. We'll immediately have a replay of the 5 p.m. Team Fast Tracks jump with the American flag, and then we will start the Rodeo Glowdeo shortly after that. And then at 7:30, the Team Fast Tracks team will jump again, this time their pyrotechnic show with the aerial fireworks. Once they've landed safely on the ground, a few minutes later, we kick off our Afterglow fireworks just shortly before 8 p.m. this evening. So it promises to be, and we think the final vestiges of this wind, the cold front, will be out of here by then. So we're looking forward to a really great evening here for our final Special Shapes Rodeo Glowdeo tonight. So it just reminds me remains for me to remind you, you've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live. We are powered by XTO, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. This is the 48th Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, presented by Canon. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining. And for Art Lloyd Jr., I'm Glen Moyer. We'll see you later tonight. Bye-bye, everybody.
You've been watching Balloon Fiesta Live, powered by XTO Energy, a subsidiary of ExxonMobil. Always in October and always in Albuquerque, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is the world's premier ballooning event. This program is a production of AIBF Inc., all rights reserved. Thanks for watching Balloon Fiesta Live.